We're live on
better?
YouTube.
Okay.
I feel much better. Yep. Hey there, YouTube.
Hey, YouTube.
Everybody say hi.
Hi.
Say hi, YouTube.
This
Hi,
is our
YouTube.
special moment just for the YouTube listeners.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yep.
Howdy.
Hey.
And here we go.
Charcuterie?
Charcuterie. That'll work. It is still Christmas.
I know. Okay, thank you. I'm so glad you did this.
This list sucks. This list really sucks. Come next year, you need not fear. This list will still be here. Hey, this list sucks. This list sucks.
Lyrically superior to
This
the
list
original.
really sucks.
Might be.
Come next year, one thing's clear. Is this list still will suck.
Welcome back to This List Sucks, ladies and gentlemen. I'm JB.
And I'm Mike.
We have two very special guests in the house this evening. So it is a pleasure to introduce Miss Katie Jo Kimbley and Linda Brundy's right here.
Woohoo!
Yes.
Hey.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Introduce yourselves. Tell us three things
Oh,
about
no,
your
come on.
childhood.
Mandatory show icebreakers.
I watched the show. You didn't make anybody else do that.
That's true. Yeah. Apologize. Put you on the spot. Happy to have you guys, though. It should be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Ladies Week.
Yes, it is Ladies Week.
Mhm.
We're back to the main list this week, even
Yeah.
though we went ahead and did the Christmas theme song. It is not a Christmas bonus episode. It is a main list episode.
So speaking of Christmas episode, also ran across a fine vinyl LP of Tiny Tim.
Did you get it?
Fuck no.
Did it have
The
that?
fuck would you ask me that
I
question?
don't know.
Jesus.
Profiling purposes. Did it have the AIDS song on it?
The Santa Claus has got the AIDS?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well, good. Yeah, but
Now
that was one of the songs on our Christmas
on our Christmas
worst
list,
of list last week.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was stellar.
Yeah.
No, but speaking of that list, I was driving home today being forced to listen to Christmas music on Sirius XM radio, which might be the worst thing going, especially if you go with the modern classic holiday station, because they played Happy Christmas, War is Over, the Maroon 5 version.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
fuck yeah. Why would you play John Lennon? I mean,
Yeah.
you could make us listen to good Christmas music, but instead we get un-auto-tuned fuckface from Maroon 5.
From Maroon 5. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. So you had to go through that again.
Whatever. It is what it is.
Because you did say that you weren't going to listen to that ever again.
I
think
know.
you said that
I know,
during the episode. And then
but
you
I
had
wasn't
to.
allowed to change it
Oh,
because
yeah.
it was Christmas music in the car day.
Yep. Yep.
At least tomorrow with the record player, I only have White Christmas by Bing Crosby.
Great album.
I know.
Yeah.
And then Charlie Brown Christmas.
Do you? We finally picked up a Christmas record this year. We haven't even played it yet. What did
Which
we
one
get?
was it?
You're not going to be happy about it. It's Elvis.
We got Elvis Christmas.
What?
Yeah.
Come
I love
on. There's nothing wrong with Elvis Christmas.
I have
I don't know.
Elvis.
I listened to the podcast when you guys did Elvis.
We did
and
kind of
Uh-huh,
shit on
me too.
Elvis during our.
Yeah,
the
you did.
podcast.
You did.
I was like, oh, I think my dad should be on the podcast for Elvis. He loves Elvis.
It's like
He
a
has
massive-
XM radio just to listen to Elvis radio.
No.
And then when you guys did the episode, I was like, oh, I'm super glad he was not here for that.
I mean, I would like to have that conversation with somebody that's really, really in love with Elvis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because and maybe I'm just a shitty music snob because I like artists. I think that artists that create and write music and perform music are superior to artists that just perform music.
Yeah.
But I think that that's a worthwhile debate to have too,
Mhm.
because there's plenty of super, super talented performers
That were just that.
that are just that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with being an artist that is just a performer,
Right.
you know, and maybe I'm just a
It's a
fucking
different
asshole.
field, though. You know that to be in. Basically, you're not. I mean, and it comes into the question like with the list, like if you're performing an album as opposed to writing it, does it get like evaluated the same way? You know,
Mhm.
And for me, it does.
it
And
does
that's-
get the
and
same way.
No. For me, they get evaluated differently. Like
Yeah.
I automatically like demerit
Right.
performers only.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't say that I automatically do it because I mean, I like to think that I still give credit where credit's due. Like if it's a really great song, it's a great song because that record had Suspicious Minds on there. I fucking
Mhm.
love Suspicious
love it.
Minds
Well, and I feel
by
like-
Elvis. Love that song.
Like
That's a good
knowing
tune.
now what I know about him and how he got music, I feel differently about it.
Mm.
Whereas like growing up when I didn't, I was like, this shit is amazing. He is amazing. Like, you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
You were a kid that was like balls deep into Elvis. You were like,
So-
She's kind of
"Fucking
indoctrinated.
Elvis."
Well, so my dad used to. Are you familiar with Porky's over on the, like, or by outside of Beaverdale?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
old
So-
biker bar, or isn't that what it was?
No, it was like a 50s diner.
Like a
Oh.
diner. Yeah.
So my dad used to fix up old cars, and we were there every Wednesday. So when I went to kindergarten,
Because that's where
I
that's where
knew-
the gearheads would gather
Right.
on Wednesday night.
they did
Gotcha.
car shows.
Okay.
So when I went to kindergarten, I knew Elvis, I knew oldies, and I knew some Garth Brooks and Reba McEntire. So smack me in the face, south side of Iowa. I did not see rap coming at all. Like, it was a huge surprise for me.
Yeah. My mom listened to oldies when I was growing up. Like that's primarily what my mom listened to too, like Love Potion #9 type
Mhm.
of shit, you know? And she was never into like super drugged out bands. So I didn't get to listen to like a lot of drugged Beatles or like no Pink Floyd or any shit like that. Like it was kind of just really, I don't know, like mid to late 50s to mid 60s where
Mhm.
all the music was still like really kind of wholesome, but in a fun poppy way.
Yeah.
So that's what I grew up listening to. But then, I mean, I got exposed to LL Cool J at a relatively young age. And so when I hit 7th grade, what year was that? Like 1988, I guess, was when I went into the record store and I had my mom buy me Easy
Yeah.
Does It.
I think like Fugees and Lauryn Hill was like my first real exposure to like
To like real hip hop.
real hip hop. And
Yeah.
I was like, whoa,
Fugees.
Yeah.
this is good.
And that makes sense for you relative, like your age relative to mine. Like that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was a thing. I used to have to go into record stores and I'm so lucky. Like I'm so thankful that my mom was cool because my mom was like, fuck censorship. So
Really?
yeah, it did not matter.
surprises me, but yeah, I mean, that's good. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
It
Yeah.
was really, really awesome because it
Yeah.
didn't matter like what it was. My mom would be like, if you want to listen to this and you think this is music, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And she would
I
buy
appreciate
anything
that
for me.
perspective.
Yeah.
I would say my dad does pride himself. Like he's like, if I did one good thing of you growing up, it's like I showed you good music. And like, although some 90s like 90s country, love it.
Yeah.
But a lot of 90s music, late 80s, because I'm 85, late 80s, 90s music is pretty awful. So at least if he was
That's
gonna
true.
show me music, at least he showed me like 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
you
Good
know.
classics.
So
yeah, you grew up on the
yeah,
classics.
there's a lot of
which is
things
good.
like I'll sing. I know all the words too. I don't know who sings them. And JB will be like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
She won't know the name or the artist, but she'll know every single word
Wow.
of the whole song.
it's bad. It's a bad
She's
thing.
like, I don't know
but
who it is, but the third verse starts with this word. You know?
It's terrible.
I was listening to Dan Fogelberg earlier tonight.
I love Dan Fogelberg.
Picked up some Dan Fogelberg at RPM whenever we stopped in there. Got a couple of Chick Corea albums.
Ooh, like Return to Forever ones or which ones?
No.
Solo ones?
Yeah, and one of them is later. One of them's like really later in the career, but I don't even remember the titles of them. Rosemary, Sage, and Time, right? Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Nice. Picked
picked
that
up
up.
that. Yeah,
That's awesome. Did you listen to any new music? I actually have a new one I listened to
Ooh,
this
what
week.
did you listen to? Oh, I picked up Billy Strings on vinyl too.
Oh yeah, you've been into that one.
Yeah, I've
lately.
been really.
How's
into
it? How's it
Renewal.
sound
It's
on wax?
ridiculous. Super, super good. If you haven't done it, do it because it's worth it.
I haven't.
You'll be happy
I
that
haven't
you
yet.
did.
So what I listened to was a really, really strange album actually, but it was by John Dwyer. You know who that is?
No.
So he was a founding member. I'm pulling this up because I don't know this off the top of my head.
Okay.
And primary songwriter of a garage rock band called OCs, and they released 23 albums. You know,
What?
but anyways, he put out like a solo album called Gong Splat, and it was actually really interesting. It's entirely instrumental, and it's basically like psychedelic effects ridden noise rock kind of stuff.
What?
Like soundscapey stuff, but just like super effects heavy. If you're into like weird guitar effects and like weird spacey cosmic synth sounds and stuff, it's pretty cool. It's like great as like background music. Like, if you were a student or studying or working or something, you want something to throw on, but it's not going to distract you.
What's the name of it again?
It's called Gong Splat.
Gong.
It's kind of
Splat.
somewhere between like modern noise rock and like
shoegazy type stuff.
and like bitches brew, like somewhere in the middle of that, because it's like
That's a weird intersection, man.
it is 9 songs and they're just completely like improvised, and they have some other random artists, but they're all just like They're all just like random noises.
Did you? Okay, so I also I checked out some new music. Did you notice that Neil Young dropped a new album?
I did see that. I didn't listen to it. Is it any good?
I did, and yeah,
Wow.
it is pretty good. I mean, it's one of those things I have a lot of respect for. John Dwyer, is that what you said?
John Dwyer, Gong Splat. It's pretty cool. There's
I got a lot of
D80 Prime on it, which is the quick little shout out. The planet where the Harkonnens are from in Dune. I'm gonna
you fucking nerd. Jesus.
Anyway, so Neil Young, new
I'll
album.
check that out. Yeah. So it's called Barn because it was recorded in some barn out in the middle of Colorado, and it's really good. I got respect because he sounds he doesn't sound like a super old guy that is questionably making music. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's like still putting his like actual effort into it, and not just riding on his own coattails at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean this sounds like it's just music that it sounds like legitimate music that he wanted to write.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And that it's cool that he's still creating.
That is cool,
and I think his voice is holding up really, really well.
Yeah, his really has.
You know,
some haven't, but his has.
No, it's aged really well, and even the new stuff. You know, like he keeps it in a vocal range where it still sounds really complimentary to his music and to who he is. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's good to have a little self-awareness and make those adjustments as you go. You know, as you get older and you can't hit those high notes anymore, change the keys of songs.
Exactly.
If you have to.
I have a lot of respect for Billy Joel because I saw Billy Joel like 4 or 5 years ago now at Bonnaroo, and he did that. And some of the songs, like you would start, and the key was so different to the song that you
don't recognize it.
Yeah, you'd almost have a hard time recognizing it. But then when he would start singing it, you'd be like, "Oh fuck, okay, I know what song this is." But he was doing that so that he didn't sound like trash.
Yeah, which is smart. Like I said, self-awareness.
Yeah.
Considering the massive hard-on that Rolling Stone has for Neil Young, it's gonna be funny. We're gonna like go ahead a couple weeks, and that new album's gonna be on the list already. So somehow it's already in the top 250.
It's number 3.
Yeah, it's already gonna be on there.
That's possible.
Speaking of the list, what are you gonna say?
So that is his 41st studio album.
Jesus.
Yeah,
a lot.
And I wanted to say that just because if Rolling Stone even has 10, right, that's really only like 25% of his catalog. Whereas think about a band like Pavement, where we're pretty certain that they have 100% of Pavement's catalog on this list.
And Big Star, which does have 100% of their catalog on the list.
Jesus.
And even like a modern artist, I mean, like Billie Eilish has like half of her catalog on the list if you think about it, right?
Well, I guess a third. Or was that first one an EP? One. Yeah, because she has a new one now.
Yeah.
Did I see that she just turned 20?
Yes, probably.
What?
Did you see that she just pulled Justin Timberlake on SNL, where she hosted and was the musical guest?
I did, yeah.
She was really good.
Yeah.
I bet she was.
She's
awesome.
Yeah. And the fun, like her monologue was not good. But that's
was it bad?
Well, I mean, listen, it's a written monologue and it's written by somebody else for her. So I almost never find those things good unless it's like a comedian doing the monologue. So her monologue was terrible, but like her in the skits was really fucking good.
Yeah.
And she had a couple of gems where she was with, she was doing this one with Kate McKinnon, and I'm trying to remember what the fuck. It was something to do with like airlines or something like that. But like Kate McKinnon was having a hard time not breaking, and then Billie Eilish was having a hard time not breaking, but they were both really, really good. But I love that tension when you can tell that the scene is going off so well that everybody's having a hard time containing themselves. Like that's just so fun to watch, right?
I especially love it when you have just like one of these, like especially in the older ones, when you have just like one of these larger than life people on there, and like the other people
crushing.
are just like they can barely contain themselves, and then the one person's just like totally straight face, just killing it, and the other people are just like almost amazed that they're even in this skit with this other person. You know?
Yeah, I just saw like a snippet of a skit that Billie Eilish did, and it was like, you know, she had a very like Karen haircut, you know, and it was like they're all in matching plaid pajamas. You know, she has her hand on her husband's shoulder, and she was like, and if you didn't think we were pretentious, people with sticks up our asses. Please turn this over and read a long, lengthy story about everything we've accomplished in the last year that you haven't. And I was like, yes.
It's really good.
Yes.
It's
Well,
really,
maybe
really
we'll
good.
watch that. I haven't really kept up with SNL lately.
No,
It's a gem.
we don't have regular TV either.
Well,
So
it's
we
on
don't
Hulu though.
pay
You can watch it on
attention.
Hulu,
Oh,
right?
You can absolutely watch it on Hulu.
Yeah.
And musically, the performances, like, she was good.
Nice.
She was good.
What did she play?
Yeah.
Did she? Do you remember for her?
I mean,
second
she
tune, did
smashed
she
it on
play an
there,
older
too.
one though.
Oh, what songs did she play?
Yeah, I thought you were making a joke. I was like, "What did she play?" And you were like, "Yeah,
Uh-huh,
yeah,
yep.
dude, absolutely."
She sure did. You thought you did that on purpose.
Well, no, I did do it on purpose because I was thinking to myself, she doesn't play an instrument, you fucking goober. Like,
I mean,
what
like,
did you
what?
expect her to play? Do you want to see her on the guitar, on the mandolin or something?
What songs
Fuck
did
off. She
play?
doesn't. I don't know what song she played. She played some new songs that
She played new songs.
that weren't recognizable to Mike.
Okay, so same
That was
answer.
good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we do have a pretty solid list of music this week. A
Yeah.
snippet of the list,
And we've got 2 extra brains
we do.
for feedback.
Where are they?
Yeah, they're right in front of us.
I left mine in my bedroom. Should I go get that?
Go snag
Mine's in
that,
the
and then we'll
car.
get started here. Yeah. Linda actually mentioned this specific week on the list, like at least 8 or 9 months ago, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I asked her to pick a week that she wanted to come on for, and she looked ahead and found this week. And the reason is because-
Women's Week.
Yes, it's Women's Week.
This is a
on the
jam.
Rolling Stone
Like,
list.
this is awesome.
Yes.
I like the ladies' week. Like the ladies' week a lot.
Okay, ladies, women. Well, I don't know.
I mean, listen,
I like the Chicks Week. You got to come up with a new name for women.
Gals.
Yeah, Gals Week here on
Broad week.
Broad Week.
Oh boy.
But yeah, and then when we got here and I saw the albums that were here, I knew that it'd be a good fit for Katie to finally come on as well for the first time. So
Mm-hmm.
again, thanks guys, and let's get into it.
Yeah.
Let's get into this week. So
Am I going
260.
first?
You can go first.
No, you go.
You want me to go first? Okay. All right.
Chippendale.
So again, just as a little recap, we always say it for those who are just diving in, blind, deaf, and dumb here.
Yeah,
We
you
are
have a
going
lot of catching
through-
up to do. Just
Yeah.
stop where you're at right now.
This is a podcast where we are going through the list of Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums of all time. And here we are at number 260 with the Slits. The album is Cut from 1979. Avant-garde you can dance to. That's the Slits cut in a nutshell. The British group's raucous debut took the best of late 70s post-punk's favorite genre influences, dub, girl groups, abstract jazz, tossed them all into a blender and somehow ended up with joyously anarchic songs like Shoplifting with its awesome catchphrase, "We pay fuck all." Kurt Cobain would call Typical Girls one of the best songs ever recorded, and we can't help but agree. Kurt Cobain loves stuff like this because I remember the last time that we had a band that was similar to this was the Raincoats.
Yep.
Kind of similar to this. Maybe they're a little more punky and this is a little bit more new wavy, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, Kurt
Did you-
Cobain loves this shit.
Did you notice any other similarities between the Slits and the Raincoats?
Vocally, they sounded really similar.
They should.
Is it because they're the same vocalists?
All tracks written by Viv Albertine, Tessa Polite, Ariana Forster, aka Ariup, and Paloma Romera, aka Palm Olive.
Uh-huh.
Were they from the Raincoats?
Palm Olive is.
Okay.
Palm
Gotcha.
Olive was the lead singer from the Raincoats.
And she's the lead singer here? I think she must have been because I
I
loved
don't-
her voice.
I thought it was Ari, but
Oh.
Well, and
don't know.
I don't know who did the majority of the lead singing on here, but I will say this. After I read that, I tend to agree with you, JB. Like the voice sounded really similar to me. Maybe not always identical, but the more that I dug into the Slits, like it seems like the Slits were just Viv Albertine, Tessa Pollitt, and Ari Up.
Okay.
Like, and there's 3 girls on the cover. So I don't know if Palm Olive was just kind of like there behind the scenes and helping them write all this stuff, almost like an executive producer type of position, or how much she actually participated in the recording. And that's something that I couldn't really find anywhere.
I think the vocalist sounded really similar to me, at least. I guess I should have looked into that because I kept thinking, man, this sounds a lot like the Raincoats, but I did absolutely zero research on why that was.
See, even the wiki though, it says that Ari Up is on vocals, and that comes from the liner notes.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I haven't done like the Pepsi challenge with the Raincoats versus the Slits, right? Like play them right back to back and see how similar those vocals are. But I mean, it's funny because I hear the similarities in terms of the writing style between
For
both
sure.
those bands.
Although I think the Raincoats maybe call me crazy, but I feel like they were a little more straight punk.
Yeah.
And this is a little bit more dancey. Like, I feel like maybe I didn't really fully understand what post-punk meant before we started this podcast. Did you?
I mean, I feel like I understand it a whole lot more now.
I feel like I really grasp it a lot more now. This is definitely that. This is post-punk
Absolutely.
for, bordering new wave, which, I mean, very similar genres, but some differences, I would say.
Yeah.
Or maybe one was influenced by the other or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I actually really like this stuff.
I did too.
Yeah.
I love this record.
Yeah. I thought it was super fun. I love the lead vocalist. I think that's probably a huge part of it, though. I just love her vocals. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't have liked it nearly as much. What did you guys think?
Well, the songs were fun, but it just wasn't my favorite genre. Of
Not like
music.
stylistically your thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, some of the songs had good rhythm and
Yeah.
some good.
I like
Some
the fun
good-
dance beats, and sometimes when
Yeah.
they kind of brought in that punk ska type.
Yes.
And there was
stuff, and it
definitely some of
fun.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, the dance beats totally, because that's really what this is. It's like punk, but with dance
Yeah.
beats, which kind of
Well,
makes. is
But
what
I
post-punk
looked
is.
up some of the lyrics, and once I looked up the lyrics and kind of listened, then
Yeah.
I liked it better.
Because you can't understand a goddamn
No,
word
I
she's saying the
know.
whole
I couldn't
time.
either.
Yeah.
No.
No, but there's a ton of stuff in there, like not necessarily as deep as like what Tracy Chapman is doing lyrically as we get later on in the week, but there's a lot of stuff happening like lyrically that I also really enjoyed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? A
yeah.
lot of like good kind of message
Once
stuff in there.
once I matched the lyrics with the music, then I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I guess I remember Spend.
That
I
fucking
noticed
song
the
is great,
lyrics on
dude.
that.
Yeah,
I like that one a lot. I gave it 3 stars.
Yeah, I gave that one 2 stars. Shoplifting though, fucking shoplifting. That song was so much fun.
It was fun.
Like I loved that song so much, and lyrically, it was really funny.
I loved
You
the
know what I mean?
bass line on that one.
Yeah, that bass line was fantastic.
Yeah, actually, now that I'm looking through, I definitely made several notes about the lyrics. Like frequent mutilation. I mean, that's pretty much just a blatant like criticism of the media, right?
Yes.
Yep.
I mean, I got a lot of like Frank Zappa vibes lyrically, not musically,
Yes.
on that, Typical Girls I loved. Fantastic song. Reminded me of The Police a little bit. Like just
Yes.
a little bit.
Yeah, I gave that song 3 stars.
I gave that one
loved
4
that.
stars. That one, and then their cover of I Heard It Through the Grapevine were my 2 highest starred songs. I actually loved that version of that.
I did too.
I thought
I
it was
did-
super fun.
I didn't give it like I mean honestly, so for me, like I put stars next to every song. Like I genuinely enjoyed all of it because I like anything that can seemingly become a fun dance tune. And almost all of these things feel like in the right environment they could become a dance tune. And I never necessarily I didn't make any notes about like the ska feel, but this is definitely a record that without this record, I don't think you can get the first and second No Doubt records.
That's what I was thinking too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this totally beget that whole genre of music.
Well, especially as a woman, as a lead singer in that genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love So Tough too. A ton of baseline references. Like I made a ton of references to baseline
For
throughout
sure.
this whole record.
Can I throw in some
Yeah.
trivia?
Yeah.
So I have this Facebook friend from England, and I asked him if he knew this band. He's like, "Well, of course." And he said that when Ari was 14 years old, even the roadies were afraid of her. She's like
What
a
a
force
badass.
of nature. Yeah, she was.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Is she still alive?
No, she died when she was 48 in 2010.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
Breast cancer, I think.
I don't know.
Man, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
I loved Love and Romance. Or Love and Romance.
Yes.
It almost felt like an old spy movie in the bass line, like the kind of that thing. A lot of avant-gardeness going on there.
The piano,
Yeah,
in that,
exactly.
And then I made a couple of other notes about piano in some different songs, but
yeah, piano and bass were some of the highlights for me.
I have notes all over the place about that damn bass player.
Me too. Yeah,
I mean, just all over the place.
honestly, I heard it through the grapevine. The way they did the bass on that, it was like drony. Like somehow they just had this sustain to it. Like I don't know if she was just constantly plucking it or there was some kind of effect going, but like it was sustained. It almost sounded like a bass synth, but I don't think it was. I think it was a bass guitar. You know?
Yep.
Super cool.
What did you think about the slow version?
It was weird, but it was a perfect closer for the record.
I loved that too. Like I wrote slowed down cut of the B-side, but it was fun.
You know what I wrote?
Yeah.
Noise.
It was that. Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I wasn't a fan.
I get that. Yeah. Any other thoughts you guys have on this one? You want to point out in particular?
I don't know if it's pronounced Newton or Newtown. I couldn't quite understand it.
I think it's Newtown.
So I took it as Newton, and I didn't really like the song because my only note was Fig Newton. I would have liked you better if you were a Fig Newton.
Perfect.
Well, I would pretty much like anything better if it was a Fig Newton. So. 'Cause Fig Newtons are great. We're sponsored by Fig Newtons. This just sucks.
What do you want to do with this thing, placement wise?
Kurt Cobain likes it, so it has to be high on the list. That's the rules, dude. That's the rules.
Do you want to see this and the Raincoats on this list?
Yeah, and I like the positioning of it. I think I liked this a little bit more than the Raincoats. What did you like? I mean, that's the closest comparison by far. I think maybe this could. I'll let you talk a second. Sorry, I know I just asked you a question and then kept talking, but I probably would put this a little bit lower, but keep the ordering of like this higher than the Raincoats.
And where were the Raincoats? Like
Had to be high 300s.
like 390, right?
Yeah.
In that range.
Yeah.
No. Was it? No, it was like 290, right?
No, it wasn't 30 albums ago. It was at least 100 albums ago, I would think.
This is why we can't allow our production manager to travel to foreign destinations.
He's on
to
vacation
scuba
again.
Dive anymore.
Yeah, he's in a different time zone. Sorry.
We seriously need to find somebody that can just like tell us what we're fucking up though when we try to remember what we've done.
Yeah.
And it's just too deep, right?
At this point,
we've just listened to too many albums and
240 albums.
Listen, not everybody needs a fact checker. You guys probably don't either.
I know.
It's fine.
Okay, so I tend to agree with you. I don't know that I want to see both. I don't know that we need the Raincoats and this on this
You
list.
loved the Raincoats though.
I know.
I remember those. Like that was
I know.
a hit.
I know, but I think about the stuff that I mean, we've seen one metal record.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Maybe we could see
There's
less.
there's like huge wholesale genres that have holes in them.
Country metal.
Yeah. And we're not talking, it's not as though I'm like, but we haven't seen any black metal albums on this list yet. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking
We haven't
about
seen Arch Enemy.
yeah, like mainstream genres that are just
Yeah, we've hardly seen any metal. We haven't even seen nothing Metallica yet.
no.
I'm sure there will be some. I hope. We haven't seen any Megadeth. We haven't seen even Slayer. There should be a Slayer record on the list. I mean,
I don't know that I'm willing to go that far, but
Rain
I
and
mean,
Blood top 50.
you've seen, but I mean, seriously, we've seen Black Sabbath,
Yeah, that's true. That's it.
the debut from Black Sabbath, and that's not. If you grew up listening to metal, like that's not a metal album. I mean, it is, right? Because what the hell else are you going to call it? I mean, you have to call it something, but from that standpoint, I'd probably rather just see this record. And I don't know if you guys ever took the time to listen to that Raincoats record or not, or if you feel compelled to comment on that. But I liked the Raincoats, and I really, really like this. I probably prefer this one. And if I could trade one of these records for a really influential hard rock or metal album, I might be very, very willing to do that. In fact, I probably would do that.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but I would probably trade something else. Like, there's been a lot of rap. There's been and I like.
Oh.
There's been a lot of hip hop, but I think we could trade one of those.
Well, yeah.
We could take
okay, that's fair.
what was the one guy that we
Fucking Juvenile,
Yeah, we could take
Bad
Juvenile
Bunny,
off.
like a whole bunch of this
Take
shit.
that shit
yeah,
off
we could
and-
clear
yeah.
off a bunch.
I would rather see this on there.
We could clear off 3
So you're s-
Kanyes
Yeah.
and
There you
leave
go.
the Slits.
Amen.
So you're saying that you want to take the slits off or take the raincoats off?
No.
Neither.
I'm
no.
gonna turn the camera.
guys
just a
have
very
come-
tiny little.
You guys have completely talked me out of this, and I now see the error of my ways. Raincoats and Slits stay. We're gonna dump some other shit to make it a bit more inclusive from a genre standpoint. I almost said from a generic standpoint, but I don't think that's grammatically correct.
a genreic standpoint.
Generic standpoint. But I would probably tend to agree with you.
What do you guys
Because I
think?
definitely liked this one more.
You want this on the list?
I mean, I would trade somebody reading like the
A phone book.
phone book than Kanye.
Oh.
Most of Kanye. So
Oh.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this though?
no, I'm.
Is this
I
one of
do-
the greatest 500 albums of all time? Do you think?
For me, no.
Okay, that's
but,
fair.
But I can understand. I mean, like as a whole, not for me. But a majority of the album, I can understand why it's on the list.
Okay, I like that.
Well, and I think it's on there for influence.
Yeah.
Too.
Mhm.
So I
is
might put
important.
it lower though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty high. It's almost halfway.
Yeah.
Let's read Rex's thoughts on this because they are short and sweet.
Oh.
Okay, so Rex Todd on the Slits. I have no idea what is going on with this album. End quote.
Wait, that's it?
That's all there is.
Yeah.
And then he moves on to the next one.
He should have looked up the lyrics.
Yeah.
Rex, I want you to go back, listen to the Slits again, and then send us another email with real thoughts about the Slits, Rex.
But pull up the lyrics and then do it.
I'm just teasing. Let's get to something that we can all argue lovingly over.
Ooh,
Yes,
yeah.
Because we
Let's
will.
do it.
Okay. Next album at number 259 from 1971, Janice Joplin's last recording, the album Pearl. Rolling Stone says on Pearl, Janice Joplin finally made a solo album worthy of her blues mama voice. She had her first #1 album, Cheap Thrills, as lead singer of Big Brother and the Holding Company, and made an uneven solo debut. Pearl was more intimate, more assured, unleashing her Texas-bred wail on the country-style soul tune Get It While You Can, and the #1 hit Me and Bobby McGee. Sadly, Joplin didn't live to enjoy her fame. She died of a drug overdose in 1970 before the album was completed.
Before it was even released.
Hmm.
That is sad. And this has to be so just to get this out of the way, this has to be the highest Janice record.
Well, we already saw Big Brother.
Yeah. And then her solo debut is not going to be on here.
No.
So this is as high as Janice gets on the list. Is less than halfway.
Can I
Interesting.
ask you a totally rhetorical question? If it could have happened, how fucking amazing would a Janice Pigpen record have been?
Which would have happened probably. Because were they together when she died? Or
I
had they
don't-
already?
I don't think so. Were they ever together?
Oh,
was that
yeah.
a thing?
Oh, fuck
that
yeah.
was a thing?
Yeah. Mhm.
And they never performed together?
No. But yeah, I mean, there's like stories about like from the other band members of the Dead about just the crazy loud all night noises that would come from Pigpen's bedroom from him and Janice up on the top floor of that 710 Ashbury house. Yeah, they were like dating.
Wow.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No, no. So the whole time that I listen to this record, like I just think to myself, man, how come Janice and Pigpen like never got together? But they were fucking together all the time, apparently.
I don't know how long they were together, and I don't know if they were together when she died. I'll see if I can find any.
I wish they would have recorded music
Gossip.
together, because that would have
Yeah.
been absolutely fantastic.
Well, it looks like. Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading. Eventually, Joplin became close with Grateful Dead's founding member and keyboardist Ron Pigpen McKernan, and the two began a short romantic relationship. However, while Joplin and Pigpen's romance was brief, it marked the start of a relationship between her and the band. So basically, that's how she kind of was introduced to the
Was
Dead.
introduced to the Dead, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, ladies,
And
what say you about Ms. Joplin?
I think it should be higher on the list for one thing.
Mhm.
I loved all the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was kind of I mean, like I said, I grew up listening to older music, but I don't remember listening to a lot of Dead, or I remember listening to some Pink Floyd and stuff like that with my dad, but I don't remember Dead or Joplin or anything like that. And she was kind of my introduction to like a woman powerhouse voice that wasn't 90s country or Celine Dion, which was a great change for me because I did not relate to them. I don't sing like them, you know.
Yeah.
And she was, you know, very soulful. So music like that speaks much more to me. And yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, she'd be top 50.
Yeah, way higher on the list.
Yeah. I like almost all female singers that have a raspy voice, and
Mhm.
hers is. I actually discovered her after I found out that Melissa Etheridge loved her. She was trying to get to be in the biopic about Janice.
She
Melissa
tried to play
Etheridge is trying to be?
Janice.
Yeah, and then she kind
Wow.
of aged out of.
Yeah. Definitely influenced though. I mean, I hear a ton of Janice and Melissa Etheridge's
Yeah.
voice. Shout
Oh
out
yeah.
the T-shirt, which is visible on YouTube, I
Ooh.
think. Yes, absolutely. And in terms of, you just talked about the rasp, I got to say that is one that is pretty polarizing. A lot of people don't like Janice's rasp. I love it.
Oh, I
personally.
love it.
I
Yeah.
do too.
But it really is very like, the people either love it or hate it. Like,
My
I've
wife
talked to some
hates
people
it.
that really hate it. It's like you either because it's not subtle, you know, it's
No,
like
not at
in
all.
your face. So it's either you're gonna be all about it or you're gonna be really put off by it, you know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, my wife hates Janice Joplin.
Really?
Yeah, just can't do it.
Yeah.
Just really just intensely dislikes like that grit in her voice. But man alive, like
I like the rawness of her voice.
I love
Very
the
emotional.
screaming.
Yeah.
love
I
the
do
screams.
too.
That's what I love about her and Melissa and Bonnie Tyler and just all of those folks.
Yeah, Melissa. Yeah, totally
Yeah.
hear it. I didn't even think about that connection until you just pointed that out. But yeah, real quick, exciting side note for you. There's a couple recordings, I guess, of like Janice and the Dead doing Love Light, where Janice and Pigpen are kind of interplaying
Are
and stuff.
playing
so-
together.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, I'll dig into those. What were some of your favorite tracks? And you can't say all of them.
tons of stars on here. I mean, the Move Over, the first one, that was cool because we got that on Cheap Thrill, didn't we? Wasn't that one on the Cheap Thrill live version with Big Brother and the Holding Company? Am I crazy?
Was it?
For some reason, I thought it was. You want to look it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
Um,
Crazy.
Well, maybe I am. But I love that version. It's great opener. Great guitar solo right off the top. Cry Baby, great tune. It's almost the same song as Piece of My Heart.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it has
Mhm.
that like slow down, quiet,
yep.
major key verse, and then it has that crazy build into this really heavy hitting, Cry Baby, like screaming chorus. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
which I love Piece of My Heart, and I love this one. They're almost the same song musically though, which is not a problem.
Not a problem for me either. Move Over is not on Cheap Thrills.
Oh shit. Thought it was.
No.
I even wrote that in my notes.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
I
The
wrote
organ
love the
though.
version on the Big Brother live album.
I got lots of organ notes all over the place because the texture of the organ to me with her voice and the way that she kind of grits and growls, like those two work beautifully together.
Yeah.
Half Moon, one of probably my most starred. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Half Moon.
What
I
about
4-starred that one.
A Woman Left
Oh.
Lonely? I 5-starred that one.
That one's
How
a
many
great
5
song.
stars do you guys have on here?
Well, we said we weren't allowed to say we liked all of them, so I guess I'm out.
So the only song that I put 5 stars next to was Me and Bobby McGee.
I have 5 stars next to me and Bob McGee and Mercedes Benz. Those are my
That's a
two
great
5-star ones. I know
Dude, that
Mercedes Benz is such a
acapella.
simple. It's almost like a little sketch that was just like an afterthought, but I love it.
Did you know that's the last song they recorded before her death?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
and
saw
even
that
for that
too.
reason,
And that's like whew.
6 stars.
Yeah, it's
there you
like
go.
it's crazy too because I don't know. I guess I was thinking to myself that like, oh, she must have been like a pretty dark place to kill yourself on barbiturates and alcohol.
It was a
But-
heroin overdose, like, and it was not intentional.
Oh, it was heroin?
It was like she
Mhm.
was a big time junkie, and it was like a
Mm.
particularly bad batch of heroin that was like that actually killed several other people in the same area, I guess, that like same week or something. So it was that's almost makes it. I mean, I don't want to say it makes it sad, more sad, but it was not. I don't think it was intentional, as far as I know. It was total accidental.
I mean, most of them were.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I got lots of 4 stars though. Trust Me. And I love that song written by Bobby Womack, but he wrote it for Janice Joplin. And then Half Moon, I have 4 stars next to, and then a bunch with 3.
Yeah, I got 4 stars on a lot. I mean, I have 4 stars on Cry Baby. I have 4 stars on Half Moon, 4 stars on My Baby, 4 stars on Trust Me, and 4 stars on Get It While You Can.
What did you like most about Cry Baby? That was kind of a weird, that was kind of a
second
weird,
Or
no,
My Baby.
No, My Baby, not Cry Baby. Cry Baby's a banger. Like, I get that.
Yeah, I
Really
loved it. I
get
loved
that.
the chorus. Great chorus. I loved the there's a guitar solo on it. There's an organ solo. I loved the simplicity of it.
Yeah. It was kind of it was a different song structure just because it had like these big builds drop and then big builds and drop and big builds and drop. And it wasn't necessarily like you had builds throughout other songs, but it felt like the build was more over the length of the entire song. And then it would get into like a big vocal section for her. But that song was a little bit different.
Yeah,
It's fine.
it was different. Yeah, it was different structurally, but I loved it.
Yeah.
How about you guys? What songs stuck out?
Me and Bobby McGee is, like probably one of the most familiar songs on the album for me, and I loved it. But I loved Cry Baby. It's probably one of my favorite songs of hers.
Yeah,
Jam.
it's so good.
And yeah, Half Moon is great. I could listen to that over and over again.
What was the instrumental one? Buried Alive in the Blues.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool. That's a bold move to do, to put an instrumental song on a Janice Joplin record. You know what I mean?
So do you know why?
No.
It's because they had laid down the instrumental
Oh,
tracks for
okay.
that,
And then
but
she
they
didn't have
hadn't
time
laid
to.
down her vocals before she
Gotcha.
passed.
Yeah,
But they
Well,
still
it's
wanted
still-
to put it on there.
It works out.
Yep.
It's good.
it was good.
I actually, because I knew that, I just made the note. It wasn't as good for me because it feels like, knowing that they just never recorded the vocals for it, it feels a little incomplete. Does that make
You can
sense?
feel
Yeah.
the missing, the empty space there.
I mean, and it's all psychological, right?
Yeah.
Because it's there, like,
Yeah, knowing
and
that
you know,
does change how it feels.
right? So,
Mhm.
because if you go back and re-listen to it now that you know that it was intended to be like, there's intention for a vocal section to be there.
Yeah.
And I think when you go back and listen to it with that knowledge, maybe you'll think
I
the
think
way
I
that
even
do.
noticed it. Wow, because I kept like expecting, I mean, because I didn't remember like when I first cold listened to this. Like obviously I've listened to have it on vinyl. I did my cold listen on vinyl. And all
Yeah.
that. And when I did it, I was like, wow, is
You
there
were
really no
waiting.
vocals in this song? I didn't remember it.
Yeah.
But I liked it because I'm a sucker for clav, and that was a clav heavy song. So it
I'm
worked
a
out.
sucker. I'm a sucker for clap too, but it was weird because I knew that they had recorded that and they were waiting for her vocals, and for me, it made it a bit
Yeah, it's
touchy.
almost like,
Marred
they
the experience.
when you go to a funeral and they pick like a song,
That's
it's almost like her last.
yeah.
That's it.
I almost wish that I didn't know because I
Yeah,
because I
it's sad.
genuinely think that if I didn't know, I probably would have been like you. I would have been like, oh yeah, it was weird that it was instrumental, but fuck, I like this and I like this and I like this,
Mhm.
and it would have been more fun.
Yeah.
So I liked Me and Bobby McGee. I'd heard that before, but
We got something. Yeah, we got something to talk about there, don't
hate
we?
to introduce some controversy, but
Yeah.
I like the Chris Christopherson version. That's
Better.
Which
Oh,
is
yeah.
the OG version.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
because he wrote it. It's his song.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I'm just all about that. I mean, I like this. I don't dislike it at all.
Her
but
version is definitely more well known.
I know.
Like if you ask the random person that didn't know, I mean, I bet most people think it's her song, but
they might think that.
Yeah,
yes.
she's like they might think that, but
They
they
be
would be
wrong.
fucking wrong. Yeah. But the Chris Christopherson version is great, and yeah, just like it kind of goes back to the conversation we were having at the very beginning of this episode.
Mhm.
Performing versus writing, and he wrote the song. It's a great tune, legendary tune.
Okay. So fascinatingly enough, y'all want this higher. I'm assuming.
Mhm.
Okay, so where do y'all want it? on the list?
Above 150.
Just anywhere north of 150.
Probably between 100 and 150.
Okay.
Maybe between 75 and 100.
I was gonna say 50.
You want it as high as 50.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be my preference too.
Man,
Girls' night.
mid 100s.
Ladies.
Powerful. Okay, well, so that you all know, in 2003, when the very first
where
list
was
came
it?
out, 122.
Shit.
This list does really suck.
It so sucks.
In
Yeah.
2012, they listed it at 125.
Wow.
And this year they gave it the hard fuck. That's terrible, right?
Yeah.
Got to make room for
Because in all
Juvenile,
honesty,
Kanye.
like I'm kind of like you, right? Like I could see this album somewhere in the 120s, you know, so 122, 125, like that makes a lot of sense for me. I mean, I don't know that I would freak out if I saw it at 50, meaning I don't think that I would like throw my hands in there and just be like, this list is terrible. I don't know that I would do that.
But you don't want it that high.
I don't know what I want at this point because there's 250 more spots left and there's still, you know, every week that goes by, I get music that sometimes I've been exposed to and sometimes I haven't been exposed to. And either case, it's welcome. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So even the stuff that I'm not super familiar with that I haven't heard a lot of, it's really, really good music. And so I'm happy to have encountered it. And it's kind of tough for me to say that, you know, there would absolutely not be a scenario where this record should be at 259 as opposed to 125.
Yeah.
I'm really distracted. There's a cat on my counter. I'll be right back.
Isn't there a song about? No, never mind.
There's a cat on the counter. I think that was on the back half of this
I
Janice Joplin
think it might have
record.
been.
Yeah.
As soon as that cat saw Katie, that cat was like, "Oh, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here."
Gotta go.
Gotta blow this joint. Yeah.
But
Um,
can you just imagine if she hadn't died? What I mean, I like to think.
27. Yeah. She's one of the OG members of 27
Yeah.
Club.
Yeah.
I like to think about what would have
What she
happened.
could have
Yeah,
done.
Yeah,
And especially for something like that. Like, that's terrible.
it is.
I wonder
Just-
is every prominent member of the 27 Club on the list? I mean, has to be.
Ooh,
right?
speaking of a 27 Club connection, Paul Rothschild, executive producer of this album, apparently he had a thing for fucked up rock stars because he was a producer of almost every Doors release.
Wow.
Yeah. He got to supervise Jim Morrison's like gradual decay into slovenly overdosedness.
Yeah. We haven't had any Doors yet either, have we?
We have not
No.
had any Doors yet.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean Hendrix, obviously Kurt Cobain is like at the very top. Hopefully not for the sake of our bet, but pretty much written off at this point. But I'm trying to think who else is in the 27 Club. You got Jim Morrison, you got Kurt Cobain, you got Janice Joplin, Jimi Hendrix,
Amy
yeah.
Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse,
Winehouse.
already on the list.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we had Back to Black a while back.
Yep.
Yeah. Who else? There's some Robert
James
Johnson.
Dean.
Robert
James
Johnson.
Dean.
James Dean's in the 27 Club.
I'm almost certain, right?
Robert Johnson, and he was like the OG member, and he Brian Jones, like from I think. From,
Oh, no. James Dean was only 24.
Oh,
Ooh, Jesus.
Robert Johnson, Brian Jones from the Stones, Alan Wilson. I don't know who that is. Do you?
mm-mm.
Jimi Hendrix. Don't know who that is either.
Who?
Janice Joplin,
Fucking.
Jim Morrison,
Who?
Pigpen. Did you know Pigpen was the 27 Club?
No.
I didn't fucking know that. Interesting. Yeah.
Hmm.
There's a bunch of names that probably aren't. We don't know. At least I don't.
Nah.
Okay.
Well,
You guys want to keep blazing on?
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we all think that this should be higher. I had it on vinyl. Do you have it on vinyl?
I do have it on vinyl.
Yeah.
Yep.
You just started doing vinyl recently,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I don't have this.
What do you have so far? You could probably tell us your whole collection so far, right?
Elvis, and Melissa Etheridge, Pale Blue Earth.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out. Holla.
to myself.
Holla.
That's a weird
John
thing for me to
Prine.
say.
Holla
Shout out
yourself.
to myself.
John Prine.
I take that
Um,
back.
Who else?
We're gonna have to get John Prine pretty soon, right?
There is. Shh.
Ooh, spoiler alert. I like it.
Yeah.
I won't say where.
She's new to the record collecting game, though. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing it. Yeah.
Yes.
I kind of, get me and Katie we amassed quite a collection since we've.
Yeah, we bought that new TV stand like a year ago. Like, doors for our record collections so they don't get dusty. That lasted for like a whole 6 months.
So
We're
we
like,
had to
"Shit,
find auxiliary storage.
We need new doors.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I'm already filled up.
Yeah, yours is
my
out of
next
control,
two.
man.
It's like,
yeah,
it's stupid.
you
I'm
have more
just-
than us. I'm quite sure. Yeah, for sure.
I'm like
I
stacking.
have mine in a
fucking-
Pepsi crate, one of those old-fashioned Pepsi.
That's a
crates.
cool place to put
Yeah.
it. That's where my good friend Justin, who kind of got me into it, Justin Handel, who's been on the podcast 3 times at this point. He back in college used to carry his records around, and are you scoffing at Justin? He's gonna be on the next episode, actually,
The
Cool.
next episode
the very next one. Yeah, I invited him.
for
I think
Honky Cat.
yeah, for Honky Cat and Headhunters.
Oh,
I mean,
fuck, yeah.
it's an exciting.
Yeah,
week.
it's a banger.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
So,
Good.
cool. Yeah, let's well, real quick, let's read Rex.
Yes. I'm
So
assuming he loves this.
he has a little bit more to say here. Pearl, Janice Joplin, Rex Todd says, "Fuck yes." This final solo album put out by Janice Joplin. She didn't even get to finish it. She passed away from complications from alcohol abuse. If you don't give 5 stars to Crybaby on this album, I hate you. Ooh, I gave 4.
Oops.
How many did you give?
It's like 3. Fuck, he hates
Rex
my-
hates
he
both
hates
our
my
fucking guts. Yeah.
he does. Sorry, Rex.
But he likes Katie. Katie gave it 5, right?
Rex and I are like BFFs.
Yeah. He says this is such a great album, a vibing listen to the jam band in between choruses. Such an impressive album from a gorgeous, soulful voice taken from our ears way too soon. Fucking love her voice, and this album would sell a nut for this
Whoa.
album or any of her albums on vinyl. Rex, you don't have to do it. I
Yeah,
got
I
it for
know.
like $20.
It's-
I mean,
I mean,
If you
you,
wanna
can
sell it,
literally
yeah.
find Pearl everywhere, vintage for like under 20. So don't shortchange your nuts, buddy.
but I mean, if you have an extra one that you're looking to get rid of, and
I
you want to
mean,
save $20,
You can easily cop Pearl on vinyl for one of them bad dogs.
Rex, I will trade you my copy of Pearl for one of your nuts. So if you just please go ahead and send that to my address, and I'll
What
get
type
it
of delivery
shipped
are
out
you
to
hoping for?
Like
You want mason jar and like spring water, or are you hoping for formaldehyde?
sparkling water and
Sparkling,
yeah, I hope
sparkling nut water.
I'm hoping that it'll be like over.
Whiskey.
I'm hoping it'll be overnighted because I'm concerned about the effects of the multiple days. That might.
trapped in the mail.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more concerned about what we're doing with it after you receive
That's
it.
right.
We're gonna add it to the collection.
I mean, maybe if
Nuts
he's
that we have.
Maybe if
Mike,
he
we,
sent-
we have a collection. Mike.
We have a collection of testicles on our mantle. We're gonna add his to it.
This house of mystery.
Oh my god.
Can I
Like
come
young
live with you?
Frankenstein.
Can I-
We've
can I
officially
come live with you,
devolved.
please? Unless you have a nut collection, then I don't want to come live with you.
Mike's is bigger than my collection.
Oh my god.
Okay, sorry guys. Let's move on before I say anything else.
You
Please.
said too much already.
Oh. I'm crying.
That's Rex's fault, okay?
he's the one that offered his nut.
He did.
He's the one that offered his own
He did.
testicle.
Yep.
For a $10 vintage.
Oh,
This is
boy.
on you, buddy.
Okay,
But it
yeah,
wasn't
this is
just any vinyl.
No, I know.
Okay.
I
Janice
know.
Joplin Pearl.
I know.
Okay, 258 is Joni Mitchell. The hissing of summer lawns. Joni Mitchell got deeper into glamorous LA groove theory on her 7th album, reveling in the possibilities of pure melody for a set of songs where her genius as a producer shines just as brightly as her writing. In France, They Kiss on Main Street bids farewell to the rock and roll era in a blaze of freewheeling jazzy joy. Harry's House / Centerpiece frames a story of a loveless high society marriage and supper club swank. The rest of the pop world would take years to catch up to where she was here. She really tells some stories on this album.
Yes,
She's
she
very
does.
descriptive lyrically
Yes.
and very specific.
I'm not intimately familiar with Joni Mitchell's entire catalog, but
Nor
I
am I.
suspect that every one of her records is just like this.
I don't think so.
No,
You don't think so?
I don't think so at all.
Blue.
I think that this is much like
Blue
this
is
is a little
not.
bit more into like jazzy territory.
Yeah,
Like I think a lot of her other stuff is a little bit more straight up like acoustic folk.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would
Blue.
say what I know of her catalog, I was like not excited about listening to this.
Because
But
you like
then-
the folky stuff more, or you like?
I typically like folk music better,
Yeah.
but I like her more in this, like the more jazz. I like her voice more in like a jazz.
Oh, I was the
setting.
other way.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, for whatever reason, never really liked it that much.
So after I wound up listening to this, I discovered that apparently she had some type of relationship with Charles Mingus.
Interesting.
And when Charles Mingus was dying, or like right before he died, like she basically got together with him and she did an album basically kind of dedicated to him in a weird kind of way. It's literally the name of the album is Mingus.
That's the way she kind of went. You know,
Yeah.
we had a Mingus record, didn't we?
We did have
What
a
was the
Mingus
one we had? Do you
record.
remember what it was called?
Mingus Ah.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I wound up listening to that, and it's very like it's not. I wouldn't say that it's similar because it's really more heavily skewed towards kind of that jazzy type of influence. But I really liked this record.
Mm-hmm.
This is weird
It's
because
weird.
it's jazz sometimes, but
Right.
it's also not. And it's also like a lot of this music is kind of hard to pin down, in my opinion. Like at no point was I like, this is obviously this genre. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like, it's kind of like it's pretty eclectic, and it's in the styles that it draws from, you know?
My only issue with the jazzy influence that you do get here is it winds up to me feeling like a square making jazz music. Does that make sense?
What do you mean?
Like a square, like somebody that doesn't necessarily live in a jazz world making a jaz record.
Gotcha.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's
I think I get it.
Like
That's
me,
not-
like me trying to sing Adele. Like you tried.
I think you do a good job at singing Adele,
Stop
baby.
it.
I mean, it's not meant to be a knock, but it just comes off as it's just different.
Mhm.
And you know that it's different, right? Because it's Joni Mitchell, for God's sakes. It's not Herbie Hancock. It's not Mingus, right? It's not Charlie Mingus. It's Joni Mitchell, but she's doing a lot of really kind of unique things. So
I think she has the talent for it, and she has the ability. But you okay, Linda? Yeah.
Oh.
it's okay.
No problem. Everything's good. You all right? You need a glass of water?
went down the wrong pipe.
That's okay. That's okay. That happened to me on here before multiple times. I'll tell you
I
that.
visually watched it go down the wrong pipe too, Linda. So I was like, oh man, I feel for you. I know exactly where this is going. Interesting factoid. Did either of you read about the Jungle Line?
Yeah. So that was a group of African musicians, right?
Yep.
That was like a loop recording. What was the group? Did you write down the name?
No, I didn't write down the name, but it was like African drumming. But basically, this is like the first example of sampling.
Of sampling, one of the first. Yeah, she was pretty hip in her.
Super cutting edge, right?
Yeah.
Especially, in 75. And what a weird thing to sample, too.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of the Paul Simon
Yes.
when he did that.
Yeah. The
Yes.
world music type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Man, and there is a fucking who's who on this album. I don't know if you guys looked into like who was on this album in addition to her, but there's a lot of
It's
and
deep.
in particular, there's a lot of really, really fucking good guitar players. Robin Ford played the guitar solo on the first song, and that guitar solo is amazing. I mean, go back and
Mhm.
listen to that guitar solo. It's like I listened to that and I was like, "Holy shit, who was that?" And I was assuming it was just some studio musician. No, it was Robin Ford. And then Larry Carlton, who's like one of the best guitar players of all time. He was on there. He was on Edith and Kingpin. He was on Don't Interrupt the Sorrow. He was on Shades of Scarlet Conquering, and then again on Sweet Bird at the end. He's fantastic.
What is he known for? What group is he with?
He just does like solo stuff. Like he it's kind of like bluesy or like jazz influenced like blues rock
Okay.
that he plays, but like yeah, he's got several like really famous live albums, and he's just kind of he's probably mainly known in like in the guitar
guitar
world, you know, which is I am involved with.
Charter
Just a
member.
little.
Charter member. Yeah. No, I get it.
Well, so I thought I read that James Taylor and
Yeah, he's on there.
and Crosby and
Yep.
Graham Nash.
Yep, they're all on there
Yeah.
too. I just didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started with the guitar players, but yep, they're all they're on there too. Yeah. So, I love the very first song. That's probably my favorite song. In France, They Kiss on Main Street.
That was your favorite song?
I think so. Yeah,
I think Sweetbird was my favorite.
I liked that one a lot
That was
too.
that's my favorite as well.
That was the ones with Larry Carlton. Go back and listen to that, and he's like super subtle. So that was one where I was actually surprised that was him because he's like usually like the lead instrument in anything that he does, and he's just kind of soloing, you know, and he's fantastic at that. But here he's like providing like ethereal background texture. It's a lot of like volume pedal swells and like real just shimmery stuff that kind of just dances around, and it's great. It's awesome. But yeah, I love the first one, man. I love the chord progressions that she came up with on that song. It's very interesting. It is not typical at all.
It was, I actually got more into the record as it went on. So Hissing of Summer Lawns, I gave 4 stars. Like the horns on that are really, really good. I love
knew
those
you would
horn
like the
textures.
horns.
I know.
Mike and his horns.
Listen, I'm a sucker. Edith and the Kingpin, though, like I really enjoyed Edith and the Kingpin, but for me, the highlight of this whole record was Harry's House / Centerpiece.
I was hoping you were going to say that was one of my second favorites. So for sure.
Dude.
That had good horns too.
Yeah,
And that
I
was a
know.
really cool, like it really was a two for.
It was really 2 songs mashed into one, but I didn't hate that she mashed those 2 songs together.
No.
If that makes sense. And actually what I did was like during Harry's House, right before she got to the break where it switched over to Centerpiece, I had already put like 4 stars next to the song because I was like, holy shit, this song is wonderful. I love it. And then when it flipped over, I was like, oh, well, fuck. I mean, Jesus.
So you gave it 5?
Yeah.
Centerpiece got the 5. And
Yeah.
Centerpiece is cool. Centerpiece is like a straight up like blues song. pretty
Yes,
much.
absolutely. I really, really adored what she did there. Adored what she did.
Yeah.
I really liked Shadows and Light too to close out the
Shadows
album.
and Light was
I like
really
that
cool.
too.
It was
I wrote
beautiful.
churchy. It felt
So do you
It
guys know
was.
what was going on there?
It
Like
was.
she was using some real cutting edge shit on that song
The
too.
synths, dude.
But yeah, 2 synths, one called the Farfisa and one called the ARP, capital letters, like brand new shit at this time, and like stuff that Pink Floyd was into using as well. In this, I mean, this had to be like what? This is like Dark Side of the Moon era.
I literally made a note. I said way ahead of its time in terms of those synth lines.
Yeah.
Because it was just
So that was what she played. Basically, that entire song was her background vocals and the Farfisa synth and the ARP synth, which I think she played both. And it was really interesting. It was minimalist. It was like it reminded me of like almost like a Billie Eilish song. Like if you go to like listen to Phineas's production and his
Yeah.
style these days, it's very minimalist. He just kind of brings an instrument in for a little bit, then pulls it out. And that's kind of what this was.
it
you know?
was, but it didn't. Sometimes that can lead to almost an empty. Sometimes that can like result in something that almost feels soulless.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. This was so full though.
Yeah.
Like for being so minimalistic in its approach, and I get what you're saying, but the textures that each one of those synths provided, man, it was a full plate.
It was enough. And the vocals, like
Yes.
it was call and response almost. It was like she would sing a line and then she would keep singing, but this massive cacophony of voices would come in. You know?
Yeah. I dug it. I dug it a lot. And that's what I mean. Like this album built for me. Like it built for me in a unique way because it's not as though In France They Kiss on Main Street was a bad song. It's a really good song, but it was weird
I
because
still think it's my favorite on the whole album.
it's just so unexpected from Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I
a
thought
bold
that's-
tune to kick
yeah.
things off to.
Mhm.
You guys have any? Yeah. What were your favorite tunes?
Well,
You guys
mine
already
was-
say that?
Yeah, mine was Sweetbird.
Yep, I would agree.
Yeah, you guys, yeah.
I also liked Shades of Scarlet Conquering, but mostly
I
because
did.
of the lyrics.
I like that too. Hmm.
I did too. I put a couple of
Yeah.
I put a couple of stars next to that.
I liked how jazzy Harry's house was. Really appreciated the voice in that song.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Muted trumpet. Always gotta love that shit.
Mm-hmm.
On Harry's House, that pretty prominently featured.
Placement. And do you own this?
No,
No.
I don't know. Well, actually, I have one Joni Mitchell, which is whatever that Record Store Day release was from like earlier this year.
Samesies.
That's the
Although
only one
I
you
just saw Hayara, which is like a 1979 release that when I was digging into this album, like I saw some of the other kind of influential albums that people talk about a lot. And that was one of them. And I almost bought it, but then like I picked it up and my wife goes, I fucking hate Joni Mitchell. And I was like, oh,
Your wife
okay.
hates Joni Mitchell?
Yeah.
Jen.
No, that's all right. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. There's more egregious hate in her musical life than Joni Mitchell. It's okay. Like if she's willing to hate Joni Mitchell, I'm fine.
You know who this reminds me of? I don't either because I'm trying to remember what her name is. But Laura, it was like real early on the list. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Laura Niro? Laura Niro?
Oh, Laura. Yes. No, was it Laura? Yeah, Laura Niro. Confessions of a, or something in a confessional, number 460 or 459 or something like.
Laura
16th
Niro. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, the 16th confessional.
The 13th confession.
The 13th. I knew it was
Eli in the 13th confession. Yeah.
There it is.
This she kind of reminds me of this jazzy Joni Mitchell a little bit. Yeah, similar. I loved Laura.
I know you were you really you loved that record a lot more than I did.
Yeah, I'm like
But
a big fan of her at this
But
point.
I would probably in some ways I'd probably take that record over this record in some ways.
Really?
Yeah, in some ways.
Did you ever listen to that one? Do you remember that one?
No, not off the top of my head.
It was early. I mean, it had to be like in the bottom 50.
It was.
Yeah.
I wanted it had to have been somewhere around 460.
Yeah, it was really early.
Yeah.
Wow. I said replacement for this one.
You like where this one
You
is?
like where it's at?
Yeah.
This is our first Joni Mitchell, definitely not our last. I mean, Blue will be top 50 probably, I assume. Oh, it is? Spoiler. It's okay.
It's so
I didn't
is.
have to say that. Yeah.
I was like, well, because I was like, where is Blue? You know, is Blue on here? And so I had to go look.
We've
Yeah.
got to get more than that though, right? I mean,
Yes,
it's
we
not
do.
just going to be this and Blue. Yeah.
I'm not intimately familiar with, like you said, her catalog, so I don't know what else to expect. Do you know what else will be on here, Linda? Like, because you actually know, or because
I looked.
you did look? Okay.
Yeah, because I was
Well, don't
looking
tell
for Blue.
us.
No,
Yeah.
well, I was looking for Blue.
Do we have 3 more Joni Mitchells to go or more than that?
There's at least 2,
Okay.
In addition to Blue or including Blue?
including Blue.
Including Blue.
At least 2 more. Cool. Well, I'm actually pretty excited about it because
I am too.
I want to get more familiar with Joni Mitchell.
Yeah. And I definitely want to hear more of her just full folk side.
I will get this one on vinyl for sure.
Because her voice is beautiful. Her songwriting, like I love storytelling songwriting.
Me too.
And that's what she does.
I
And
guess
she does
she
it really,
was-
really well.
I guess she was on the list already.
She was?
in
When?
that Janet Jackson album.
Oh,
Remember that one? Where I hated that song actually
Yeah,
because
you
it was
fucking
like they
hated
had
that
that
song,
rapper
too.
guy who the only fucking thing he did the entire song was Joni Mitchell never lies.
Joni
He kept
Mitchell
saying
never
that.
lies.
It's like, dude, what a worthless contribution to this song. But she was on the on and on and go, but you don't know what you got till it's gone. That song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get more of her.
Yep.
Yes.
More
You get
acoustic
lots more.
folky.
Sorry for the spoilers, but yeah.
No, they're appreciated at this point in time because I mean well,
You didn't
just
tell
got
us where it
curious
was. You
because-
just said it's there. So
Right.
you didn't tell us.
Yeah. Well, I just got curious because I'd heard of Blue and I liked some of the songs. I'm like, that's got to be there. And so I looked.
yes.
Rex Todd.
Mm-hmm.
Rex Todd on
What does he
Joni
think about
Mitchell.
these hissing lawns?
Let's see. Another first for me on this list. Never listened to any Joni Mitchell before. Let's dig into this. Her voice is pretty and significant at the same time. I don't really care for the track Jungle Line, but that's just my opinion. I think it's the monotonous bass line that gets old, which is that sample,
son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does have some really great tracks on it. Love her voice. Not a bad album. Still holds up to this day. That's Rex Todd.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't. I feel I'm getting more and more to the point that some of these placement questions that we have, like, unless it's an album that I know, like Pink Floyd, right? Like, I'm gonna fucking argue placement on Pink Floyd all day long. You know, I've listened to it hundreds of fucking times. Love it. I will make that argument.
Which Pink Floyd? Any Pink
Wish You Were
Floyd?
Here.
All of them.
No, Wish You Were Here.
You're
Because we
talking-
just, yeah, we just did Wish You Were
Specifically
Here.
about that one.
Yeah. And there's no way that I would put Wish You Were Here as low as it is.
Criminal.
Yeah. It's stupid. Like, just
Slander.
stupid, dumb,
Yeah.
crazy. This is one of those records, though, that I like it. I see the value of it. I would probably say, sure, it's fine where it's at. But if you talk to me again in a year, when we're delving into like the top 75, the top 50, then I might say, no, we got to do something different. But I don't know that there's anything behind this that I'm saying, you know, this is nuts if we don't move.
It's
this
hard to
record
argue
up.
placement on stuff that you just kind of are
Just
getting
getting to
familiar
know.
with, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just getting to know. All right, number 257. I think that we're all going to enjoy Miss Dolly Parton's record Coat of Many Colors. Rolling Stone says Dolly Parton's darkest, most affecting album. The title track is about wearing rags but keeping your pride. Quote, that was a very sad and cutting memory that I long kept deep within myself, end quote, she said of the song in the 1977 Rolling Stone interview. Quote, I remembered all the pain of it and the mockery, end quote. The rest is more hard country. On Travelin' Man, Parton's mom runs off with the singer's boyfriend. On If I Lose My Mind, her boyfriend has sex with another woman in front of her.
The Cuck
This-
song.
This thing is rife. And did you notice that the Cuck song was not written by Dolly?
No, yeah, it was not. It
Porter
was
Wagner.
yeah, it was the other guy that wrote 4 songs on the
No,
album.
she wrote
3.
7 and he wrote 3.
Yeah.
3.
So, did Porter Wagner get cucked? Have you looked up pictures of Porter
Is this
Wagner?
projection? Does he look like a guy that would get cucked?
Uh-huh.
Pull up a picture.
Jeez. There was zero hesitation there at all, Linda.
That's exactly what I was saying. I was literally going to say, take a picture. Just look at a picture of him, JB. And Linda's like, yeah, he's getting cucked.
He's getting cucked
He's
right
getting
away.
Cucked the fuck.
Right away. Yeah.
Cucked to fucking hell.
Check and see if he wrote Jolene. Just kidding.
I did question in my mind whether or not she changed pronouns in that song.
Did you look that up?
I didn't.
No.
Because I don't necessarily know that Porter Wagner ever recorded that song before, but I mean, wild shit, dude.
It is
like
wild
wild shit from Dolly.
Some bold subject matter here, like stuff that
Seriously.
I was telling Katie about it earlier. I was like, did you know that song's about this? Like, and you know, the time period this came out and like the persona that Dolly
It's
Parton
racy
has.
as fuck, right?
It's very racy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, not my Dolly Parton. No,
well,
No,
because
that would
No.
never happen.
because in
No.
and think about it, in 71, like Dolly is young.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Dolly was like super wholesome
Yeah.
when she was young. And so it's weird to think about the audience that would be listening to this, right? Like this is some straight up Grand Ole Opry audience. And they're like, that's what happens sometimes, sweetheart. Sometimes your mama just runs off with that man you've been fucking. I don't know what to tell you.
Sometimes your man wants to have you watch him fuck some other woman. That's just how it is. This is just life. These are just normal
This is the
occurrences.
South, you know.
This is normal shit. Welcome to it.
Did I tell you about your Uncle Harvey?
Yeah.
Mama, why does our family tree look like a telephone pole? Just shut your mouth, baby girl.
Shut your mouth, darling.
Oh my gosh.
This is a wonderful record.
It's a fantastic record.
It is.
I mean, it really is.
Musically, there's a lot of good shit going on here.
Mhm.
Coat of Many
Lyrically,
Colors,
too. Yeah.
right?
Code of Many Colors, 5 stars. I gave it 5.
You
I'll be
have to.
honest.
Sure.
You have to.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's fucking real too. Like that's the craziest part about that.
Such a wholesome message, man. That's like the most wholesome Dolly Parton right there. And that's like the best way to describe her, you know. Her
Yeah.
voice, even sounds wholesome.
Yeah.
You know, just the way that she sings. It's just so
It's
like
beautiful.
texturally so like creamy. I don't know if that sounds
Yeah.
weird, but
No.
you know,
Yeah, her voice is
Based on
Shouldn't have
what we
thought
were
it
just
sounded
talking
weird.
about, I think it does.
I
now.
should have waited a little bit.
Yeah. Too soon.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Speaking of creamy, Traveling Man. I mean, I put 4 stars next to that guy because
Yeah.
he's a boss.
He is.
That was like that's it. In all
He
seriousness,
tried to pull off the mother daughter. Didn't work.
tried to.
Yeah.
He did. He
Yeah.
pulled it off.
Yeah.
That's like really though. That's like a rocky.
That's a
That's-
gritty tune. I love the
Mhm.
juxtaposition of Coat of Many Colors and then Traveling Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the Traveling Man it's almost like a country rocker. And this wasn't like rock country.
It's like
But
Southern rock, dude. I wrote down like
Mhm.
this is really not country. Like it's Southern rock.
It's a weird country rocker. And I love it. Like really love it.
Well, and I read somewhere that kind of the underlying theme really is a hope of escape, not
Mhm.
Not
that your mom's
necessarily
gonna
about
run
that
off
your
with
mom's
you.
gonna run off with
Yeah.
your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That makes sense. Lots of bass. Listen, did you
Dude, the
pick up
bass guitarist on this
fucking
album was
smashes,
nuts,
right?
dude.
Like
fucking
smashes through
I wrote
this
down
whole
on
thing.
Traveling Man, awesome bass playing throughout. I mean, that was one of the best. Also on speaking of the bass, what was the one big tune with the bass? Early Morning Breeze.
Yes, 4 stars.
Need some more whiskey, Linda? You need a refill?
Sure.
Okay. It just seemed like you did. So
You should try some of that Woodford, Linda.
You want the Woodford or you want the Jameson? This is a quick programming break here.
Mhm. This
for-
is editorial. If our production manager would be here, this is what he would be doing.
No, he
Um,
wouldn't.
I know he wouldn't. He'd be
Damn it,
He'd be
Justin.
drinking it.
He'd be passed out drunk.
He'd be
in the
drinking
corner.
it and passed out on the couch by now.
Oh, nice.
Early Morning Breeze without
You tell me
and
what.
without a doubt, I absolutely love it. That's kind of the same thing. It almost has a rock feel to it, but I absolutely, man, I love everything about that song.
Early Morning Breeze.
Yeah.
It almost has like a Celtic folk vibe to it. It reminds me a little bit of like one of these Jerry Garcia band tunes. I can't remember what it is.
Okay.
But
I'll
it's
take
like,
that.
like this bluegrassy, but it's like a little bit Celtic.
Hmm.
Um,
I'll have to
What
go
song
back and
is it?
listen to that with that in mind.
I want to remember the song by the end of the podcast, but there's a specific song that it reminds me of.
I also love Here I Am. towards the
Love
back
that
half of the
shit,
record.
dude. Here I am, dude. It just sounds so triumphant.
I
you
love
know?
that one too. The other one I love is The Way I See You. That's just a gorgeous
Yes.
love song.
Yeah,
Yep.
literally just-
Huge fucking vocals on The Way I See You.
Mhm.
Like massive vocals on that.
Pedal steel. Okay, The Way I See You had my favorite moment of the entire record. Okay, which it's just like a little quick moment that happens every chorus, but it's when it's in the chorus and it's when she goes in the blue and it like goes really high and there's all these beautiful harmonies. It's just like bliss, like
Mhm.
pure, like just I encourage you to pull this song up. It's just right on the chorus. It's one moment. It lasts like 5 seconds, but it's like one of the most beautiful moments on any recording.
She busts out I mean, when I think of Dolly, like I don't necessarily think of big range, but she busts out some rangy ass shit.
Yeah.
Especially like, I mean, she does it on a few different tracks of this record, but The Way I See You is one where her range, and again, I don't ever think about her as like a singer with this magnificent range, but man, she pulls it out there.
Yeah.
But even genre, what? Sorry, go ahead, Katie.
I would say she's just very much a storyteller. Like I
Mhm.
don't,
Mhm.
not all
Absolutely.
artists for me have to have really good vocals or range when they're telling a story. I don't really mind.
Yeah, I
Okay,
agree.
so like we talked about this at the top of the show, the idea of a song, like a writer and a performer,
Mhm.
she has that in spades.
She has it
Right.
all.
I mean,
She does
right?
both.
Because
the hair, the sequins, like
but it's not, I mean, it's not even that. Like to me, like she writes songs about her life experience
Mhm.
and she does it in a way that's relatable.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not a 5 foot nothing woman with like double E cans, but I can, like, I listen to that music and I'm like, wow, that's really genuine,
mhm.
right?
Mhm.
That's genuine from who she was, who she is, who she aspires to be.
She's
Right.
such an amazing person. I mean, she's just like, even this
Yeah.
year, like, or last year, really, I guess, to be like topical, like with all the COVID situation, like the amount of fucking money that she
Yeah.
like donated to vaccine research and stuff. Just an incredible, she's an amazing person.
She's an
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah,
person.
she
And if
really
you
is.
look into like, everything that she's done in and around Dollywood and what she does with the profits from that place. Like
Yeah.
she
Yeah, you
is
can
a
sign up to be like a part of her book program. They just send you free books.
she's a
and
beautiful
it is-
person.
Yeah, she's
Like she is a
wonderful.
remarkably beautiful person.
Yeah.
She's one of the good ones for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
And she made a fucking hell of a record here.
she really did. Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
to get back to it, like even like musically, we were talking about her range. Like there's a lot of different genres on this. I mean, like Here I Am. That's more of a rock song. You know, it's not even really
I
a
put
country song.
gospel-y. I thought
It's
it
like
was
a gospel
gospel-y.
type of rock song.
Yeah.
It almost
Mhm.
reminds me of Fleetwood Mac. Makes me
Yeah.
think of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I even wrote real quick shout out Bobby Dyson, bass player on the record. He's so good, man. And I know we already talked about him, but it stuck out even more on that song too. His playing.
At that point in time, because this is the second to last song on the album, I just wrote more of that great bass work.
He's so good.
Because
Bobby Dyson. He deserves recognition.
yeah, because I pretty much shouted. I have a shout out to the bass on every single one of these songs in my notes. I mean, it's fun and it's inventive, and he's doing it in a genre that you don't typically think of fun, inventive bass playing in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Especially in that time period.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of Phil Lesh is what it reminded me of. And I thought about it relative to the time. So if like listen to Phil Lesh and what he does on American Beauty, and then listen to the bass playing on this album and tell me that they're not influenced by each other.
It's all
they
very
are,
good, dude.
You know.
I love it.
What do you want
Great
to
album.
what do you think about do you own this?
Not on vinyl.
I would love to.
I would love to as well. One day.
Do you have it, Linda?
And
No,
it
I
won't
do
be
not.
too far. What do you want to do with it in terms of placement?
I think it should be higher. I
Definitely.
mean, considering the country snub in
Yeah.
general.
Exactly.
I'm not saying it should be top 100, but I think it should be
Closer to 200?
200, 190.
Yeah. Thereabouts.
Yeah.
I think it deserves recognition.
The
It's
thing I
great.
think about that's cool about this is this kind of marked her separation from Porter Wagner.
Yeah.
You know, he
Mhm.
was like, he kind of had a fist hold on her.
He was kind of holding on to her
Yeah.
pretty strong.
Yeah. Because she was carrying him, frankly.
Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah, this kind of
Fucking
marked
cuck.
her separation. There we go again.
Yeah. Do we think this is the only Dolly?
Yes.
I think so.
What about Jolene? It's crazy that the
I
whatever album that
know.
doesn't have Jolene. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, say what you want to about Jolene, say what you want to about Coat of Many Colors. My Dolly is always going to be the one that shows up. Working 9 to 5. What a way
Katie
to
loves that
make a
song.
living. I love
Yeah,
that song.
me
I
too.
fucking love 9
Yeah.
to
wasn't that for a
5.
movie?
Yes, it was a
Mhm.
movie. It was an
Was it called
awesome
9 to
movie.
5?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lily Tomlin
Was it?
and Dolly Parton.
She was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was
This is the third woman. So
Oh.
Dabney Coleman plays like the villainous boss, and it was Dolly Parton, Lily Tomlin, and
I can see your face.
who was it?
I know.
N-
Who?
Oh fuck, you're right. It was Jane Fonda.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
that's right.
fucking
Yeah,
Jane
Jane
Fonda
Fonda.
was
I
the
can see your
third.
face.
Ah,
That's
that is
It's like the
so good. That scene with Jane Fonda when she's
Yeah.
fucking lassoing
Yeah,
Dabney
yeah.
Coleman. Ah. Shout out 9 to 5.
I haven't seen it.
That's
You
Porter Wagner, right? No, just kidding.
I haven't seen 9 to 5. I gotta watch it.
You
now.
Yeah.
haven't seen it?
If you haven't seen it, you
Oh.
really should.
You gotta see it.
It's comic genius. It's
Yep.
very good.
It's
Cool.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Should we read Rex Todd on Dolly Parton?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay. Here he goes. Another first. About to listen to an entire album by Dolly Parton. This album is about growing up in poverty as one of 12 kids in Tennessee. The title track is a beautiful listen about loving the handmade coat her mom sewn together. And no matter how much the kids at school made fun of her for that coat, she loved what her mother made. This album is full of heart. Great album. Wish I would have listened to this sooner. Yeah, so he's right there with us. He loves
Cool.
Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Way to go.
What do you think? Should this be higher? I don't know if you weighed in on that.
I mean, I think two things. A, yes, this album probably should be higher, and yes, we need more legitimate country music on here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, I've listened to so much Miranda Lambert since we listened to The Weight of
The weight of these wings.
The Weight of These Wings. And I really have an appreciation for that. But at the same time, there's so much country music that is just being completely left off of this list. And I'm not saying that I want to have like 50 or 60 country albums on here, but there should be more than 13.
Well, there's the one
Is there-
glaring snub, right? Sorry, go ahead.
Is there a
Katie.
Garth Brooks album?
That's what I was about to say. The one glaring
Is
snub.
there a Reba
that
McEntire album?
No.
Okay, fuck this list.
There's no
Exactly.
Garth Brooks. I mean, I don't even like
No,
Garth
but
Brooks.
seriously.
I don't even like Garth Brooks. But
The-
Garth Brooks, isn't he the best-selling artist of
the-
all time?
Well, he's the best-selling country artist of all time.
Right.
Oh, who's the best-selling artist? Is Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Thriller is the best-selling. Yeah, that's the point, right? How do you not have fucking Rope in the Wind?
Right.
How is Rope in the Wind not on here?
Yeah.
You know, or
Fancy.
Fancy.
I mean, as a song, I would, I'm fascinated to kind of, and not that I want to embark on that fucking list, but I would be really fascinated to see if we get better, more equal representation amongst genres on the list of the 500 greatest songs of all time.
Probably.
Because does Fancy appear on that list?
I
I would put it on that list.
right.
I fucking love that song.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? At some point, we will get to the end of this list, and we'll need a new list. That also will have to suck.
But I mean,
So,
seriously, like low places,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Thunder Rolls.
that would be
there's-
on the top. That would be on the top 500 songs of all time. There's no way it wouldn't.
Because there you're gonna get one hit wonders, right?
You
Yeah.
get all the one-hit wonders.
Well, I mean, hopefully not all
Not
of
all
them,
of them.
because not all of them deserve to be on that list, but you're going to get some of them,
Mhm.
you know, and maybe that's where some of those artists come in, but because
You'll get 9 to 5 on that list. I guarantee it.
I would,
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a strong maybe.
Working 9 to 5.
You haven't even seen the movie.
With
even
with
seen
the
the movie.
lack of representation though from country music in general. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think this record probably does deserve to be closer to 200.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
even 150.
I
Like
would
this
say,
is
I would say personally 150.
and I'm probably going to go there too, just because I know that Dolly wrote 7 out of the 10 songs
Mhm.
on this record, and the songs that she wrote are really fucking powerful. Like it's artistry. It's
Right.
real, like beautiful songwriting artistry.
Well, and she's the whole package.
Good
too.
That's right.
Yeah.
She does it all.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's just
she's
something
writing
about
this
writing a
and she's
song
performing it.
Like about the something
Listen
your
to
mom
c-
hands
That's
you.
it. That's
and
it.
Then you turn
Although
on
I
the
do
radio
have
and
to
listen
say,
to
that's
ass
it.
and titties, you know? Like,
That's it.
I do have to say, it's a little weird having a song about how her mom ran off with her boyfriend, and then the next song is like her, like, "Mom, can I be Mama's little girl again?" Like, your mom just ran off with your boyfriend, Dolly. Like, you need to get that figured out in your head. You got
Listen,
some
that was
mommy
only,
issues.
That was only 2.5 minutes of her life. Okay. Like as soon as those 2.5 minutes are over, it's mom again. And she
The
fucking
traveling
loves her
man
mom.
kept traveling. Mom came back.
She forgave her mom a little too fast for my sake.
well, she probably left her with 11 siblings and was like,
Yeah.
please come back.
Mom.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
If
mother.
I gotta
God,
deal with
get
my
back
here.
fucked up little brother one more day, I'm gonna kick your ass, mom.
This is your job.
This.
Okay, moving on. The last record for this week, 256, we have Tracy Chapman, self-titled, from 1988.
Mhm.
Somehow this young folk singer came out of nowhere to catch everyone's ear during the hair metal late 80s. Tracy Chapman had already spent time strumming her acoustic guitar for spare change on the streets around Boston, but her gritty voice and storytelling made Fast Car a huge hit. Her debut confronted listeners with the raw truths of songs like Behind the Wall, a grueling portrayal of domestic violence sung a cappella, and the radical hope of the anthemic opening track, Talking About Our Revolution.
Mhm.
This fucking album smashes, dude.
Yeah. It
It's
does.
a-
I mean, this is like
Before its time, too, like lyrically.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's so relevant even
Today.
30 years later.
Yeah.
right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
these songs are like social injustice.
Mhm.
These songs are violence against women,
Mhm.
and these songs are wealth inequality. That's the one that fucking
Yeah.
blew my mind.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Holy
Like-
shit, this
Yep.
album is 30 years old. That's so fucking crazy.
I know. It's
Over
hard-
30 years old.
33
Yep.
years old, man.
It's older than
Yep.
you.
It is older than me.
Exactly. And she's singing about wealth inequality in
Right.
1988.
Well, I just think
Fucking
I
nobody was
only
talking about
3
that.
years old when this came out, and just to think in my lifetime, like a fucking thing has changed.
Nope.
Okay, cool.
Not a one.
You know,
No.
like that's awful. That's
In
awful that
fact-
she's still.
In fact, I
dealing
would
with
say
it.
it's worse.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
gotten worse. Tracy
Yeah.
Chapman need to release another album.
Yeah. Well, she has.
Wealth inequality in particular has gotten egregiously worse,
Mhm.
like
Horrible.
appreciably
Yeah.
worse over your lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, and so yeah, the idea that she was singing about that and like the racial stuff too. I mean, it's fucking
Very
crazy.
relevant.
And the
Yeah.
violence against
Domestic
women.
violence. Yeah. Like domestic violence is a huge theme of this album.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like it wasn't really, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like at this time that it was like that much in the forefront of people's minds.
No, not in the late 80s.
No.
Late 80s,
No,
that was
70s
still
were
like,
over, man.
well, and it's not just that. It was like the late 80s were like a throwback to almost like the late 50s.
Yeah, people were kind
Right.
of turning a blind eye to that
Mhm.
shit. You know
Correct.
what I mean?
Yeah. When Reagan came in, it was like, oh, okay, thank God he's going to make it just like it used to be.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just like it used to be, was like women would get the fucking shit beat out of them and they couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fucked up.
Back in the kitchen.
That's exactly right. Get your fucking ass back in the kitchen.
Yep.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Yep.
But she was singing about it. And it's weird to think that like a lot of these songs would translate into George Floyd and
Mhm.
Black Lives Matter.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Like a direct translation.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. This was the hashtag movement?
Me too.
Me
Me
too.
too.
Thank you.
Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah. What did you okay, so what were your favorites? Like what did you like? What did you not like? Anything that you didn't like?
Nope.
Nothing that I really didn't like. Some of my personal favorites, I loved Mountains of Things.
Mm-hmm.
Loved that one, and I loved For My Lover. Those were probably my two favorites. I also loved Behind the Wall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bold,
Behind the Wall.
bold track too. I mean, just to do an acapella track like that with all that space, and it's just you're just all out. You're just fully vulnerable at that point. She's just singing,
Yeah.
you know, her voice. And that's all it is.
It was so powerful.
Yeah.
It made me think
Yeah.
about 911's a joke.
Yeah.
Right? The Public Enemy track.
Yeah.
Like it's almost line for line too. Like she's talking about
Or
how
how the police don't come, or if they do, they're late.
if they do, they're
Yeah.
way too late. Right.
Mhm.
And that's like literally what Flava Flav is rapping about in 911 is a joke from Fear of a Black Planet. Like it's beautiful. I literally wrote this song is beautiful and terrible.
Yeah.
That's a kind of about talking about a revolution. Like, I mean, that could be the last 2 years of all these protests, like that anthem
Yes.
easily.
Particularly with like, and particularly on that one about wealth inequality,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like income and wealth inequality. Like that is all over the place. And I love the voice. The organ on talking about a revolution is fantastic.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm almost the biggest sucker for organ as I am for the horns.
Yeah, it was great.
Horns 1, organ 2.
That
Mhm.
you know, a big thing that she was kind of heralded for when this came out was just the simplicity of it,
Mhm.
as a, you know, contrast to what other things that were going on
Mhm.
musically, like
Mhm.
just purely musically.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
any, like,
Hair metal,
socially or
pop, like
Yeah.
everything
stuff was pretty
in 88.
convoluted at that time, you know, like musically, like stuff was busy and complex, and even the hair metal there's a lot going on in the hair metal song, you know. This is like most of these songs are like 4 chords the whole time, you know. Rarely do they change. If they do, they just switch the order of the 4
Well,
chords.
it's in your face and there's nothing to distract it. It's
Yeah.
just like her
Yeah.
words, her
Mhm.
music, and it's just right there.
Yep.
Hey, on Across the Lines, so is that a fretless bass or is that a bass synth?
That's a dulcimer, I think.
Ooh.
You're talking about the
I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking
gonna
about.
listen
That's,
after
that's
this.
why I'm asking.
we're
I
gonna
just
listen
like
to
it.
this song after this together, and we're gonna talk about it. But
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that it's a dulcimer.
What's a dulcimer?
It's like a weird stringed instrument.
Okay, so
I
it's
don't
a
have
string.
one, so I can't.
Is it like
show
a
you.
bowed instrument?
I think it's like, it's something to do with like hammers or something.
Wait, hammers?
Yeah.
Like you play it with hammers?
You like hit things with hammers.
Ding, ding, ding.
Um,
Or like a xylophone with strings.
maybe I'm not right about that.
Okay, so
I
it's
thought-
like
I think you
it's
are.
like a super duper shitty piano.
Yeah. So a dulcimer is a string
You
musical
have to do
instrument.
all the work. for
yeah, somebody was like,
Piano.
"Hey, let's make a piano, but let's take away all the keys and everything. Let's just make some asshole.
Let's take
hit
away
the
all the
strings
ease of use, and you have to just do everything manually.
manually.
So it
it's a
says
manual
The
piano.
dulcimer is a string musical instrument, a version of the psaltery because everybody knows what that is, in which the strings are beaten with small hammers
Yep.
rather than
It's
plucked.
a fucking manual piano.
Basically,
It's
the
a
player's
manual
right
piano.
hand strums with a small stick or quill,
Oh,
and the left hand stops one or more strings to provide the melody. This is a difficult instrument to
This
play.
is what we should have got you for Christmas.
Yeah. Next year.
And
No one
here's
knows how to
your-
teach it to you. You're welcome.
Here's your
Good luck
dulcimer,
finding a fucking
asshole.
dulcimer teacher, dude.
Give me back your coffee.
I'm
Merry
gonna-
Christmas.
So, okay, so Jack Holder played a lot of these weird instruments on this album, and dulcimer was one of them. And I'm pretty sure that was
That's what it must
That
be.
was-
Then.
so. Jack Holder played the organ, the dulcimer, the dobro, the piano, the electric guitar, the Hammond organ, and the sitar.
Ooh, the sitar.
Yeah.
Although I don't remember hearing
I
a
don't
sitar.
either.
either, but
I don't know that I made a note. I don't think that I made a note on it, but there were definitely times where I was like,
What the hell is that?
that's fun. Well, because that's what I always think when I hear a sitar. I'm like, that sounds like fun. Just waiting to happen.
My favorite was Baby Can I Hold You. That-
mm,
I listened to that over and over and over.
yeah,
So cool. I gave that 5 stars.
That's a good tune.
very good.
I do love that tune. I'm trying to think. Okay, so 3 was the most that I went.
For My Lover, I gave 4 stars.
I like that one too.
And Talking About a Revolution, I gave 4 stars. Those were
Yeah.
my 2 favorite tunes.
Yeah.
I also loved Mountains of Things with 3 stars. But For My Lover is a fantastic song. It's just
Mhm.
that song has this epic feel to it to me.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's even a harmonica on that, and it works well. It fits really well. It sounds it sounds like it's meant to be there.
Excuse me.
I gave 3 stars for My Lover. And I gave
You
3
motherfucker.
for Behind the Wall, 3 for Across the Lines, 3 for Fast Car, and then 2 for Revolution and 2 for Mountains of Things.
I gave
I
4
do
to
like
Revolution.
Mountains of Things a lot, though. Mountains of Things lyrically
Super
was
cool vibe.
fucking beautiful.
It
dude.
was, and it was like it's
Mhm.
cool. Her just like hoping for a better life, and it's pretty much what it is.
Well, and it was just
Um,
about like the whole like the notion of materialism,
Yeah.
right?
Although she was almost kind of like vying for it, she was. Do you take it like as more of like a criticism of it?
Yeah.
Because she was basically like saying that's what she wants, but it could have been interpreted as she was as a more veiled criticism of it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
thinly veiled.
And I viewed it as the thinly veiled criticism from, yeah, she might be saying that's what she wants, but in all reality, it's like, for what?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and musically that had kind of like a Caribbean, almost like island vibe to it.
It was a really weird.
Marimbas. It sounded like I think there were marimbas going on.
Mhm.
That was a
Um,
sitar.
I didn't hate it.
That was the sitar. That was the dulcimer, the hammered dulcimer. I don't see marimbas on the list, but I do see several people that are just listed as saying percussion.
Percussion.
So that
Yeah.
has to be where that falls into, because there were definitely some kind of like marimbas or some kind of what's the other word for a marimba?
Okay, now the song right after that, She's Got Her Ticket.
I was just going to ask you what you guys thought about that.
That to me was like super reggae.
Yes, it
Straight,
was.
it's straight up reggae.
Yeah.
It's just,
Very-
Just like
yeah.
full on
great
reggae.
bass line on it.
I was
Yeah.
Very islandy.
loving the lyrics of that. It's like I couldn't tell if she was trying to escape or she was like it was like a suicidal kind of thing.
I didn't necessarily read it as that. Right?
Interesting. I didn't- I didn't either, but
Because
That's
she
a-
wants
that's
to
an
leave and
interesting
nobody should
perspective.
stop her. Does she mean
that didn't
leave,
occur to
or-
me, but that could be what it is.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, like it's kind of clicked in my head because I was trying to figure
I
out
kinda wanna
what that
go
whole
back and
song was
re-listen to
about.
it now.
Yeah.
Because that whole song was lyrically that was about like, yeah, she's getting ready to leave. I'm gonna pull up the lyrics because that's interesting. That might
Yeah.
even be what it's even
Well,
about.
especially with like lyrics,
Everything
behind
else
other
that she's
songs. There's
That's
probably
right.
a time in her life maybe she didn't always feel like that, but there
Yeah.
very could be relatable. Like
So she's got her
Maybe she was
ticket.
maybe
I,
that is your only escape.
Yeah.
says she's got her ticket. I think she's gonna use it. I think she's gonna fly away. No one should try and stop her.
Yeah, I think you're right.
She says their mind is made up.
Jesus.
I don't know, man. Now that you say that, that sounds
Yeah.
kind of like what that is.
Yeah, I did not necessarily read those lyrics that way, but now that you're saying that,
And then later on, why not leave? Why not go away? Too much hatred, corruption, and greed. Give your life, and
Yeah.
invariably they leave you with nothing. Young girl ain't got no chances.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah, that's depressing as fuck.
It really
I know.
is. That didn't click for me until you just said that.
That makes the note that I made very John Mayer seem like a really fucking dumb thing to say.
Whoops. Read the lyrics first, dude.
I'm not a lyrics guy.
I know. We've talked about this.
Yes. Yes, we have.
I was very, very surprised by
Doesn't sound
Behind the
not
Wall.
like John Mayer.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that
just
one.
because I'm not a super, I don't like really love her voice.
Yeah, she has
I-
a very specific, like just purely musically. You mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, she's like it's a very mid-rangey.
Yeah.
You know,
I like it. It's just not
tenory.
relatable to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really like harmonies and stuff like that. So, I was surprised how much I love that song because
Acapella is fucking tough to pull off, dude.
yes, and but I think
Gut wrenching.
Yeah.
I think it made me like want to listen to the album again and give it another try because like maybe I was just being a little judgmental by that when I mean lyrically her songs are amazing. She's a great songwriter.
Yeah.
I mean to talk about things that are really
It's hard. That's
is-
right.
Well,
It's fucking
and then
hard.
to make it relatable so people will listen to it
yeah.
is
Yeah.
I mean it's not like I can't imagine like Taylor Swift singing these songs and people being like, "Oh, okay, honey." You
So
know?
that's accretive to the greatness,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I think I only knew about Fast Car.
yeah.
And then to
Right.
hear the rest of these songs, it's like, oh
It's
my
powerful.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way I was old enough to appreciate a fucking thing that this woman was trying to do.
Right.
You know, I was 11
Mhm.
and I remember Fast Car, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like Fast Car was such a monster hit on the radio.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, like, I didn't hate her voice. I didn't hate that song. Like, it was catchy enough. Like, it was fine. But there's no way that I possibly could have even
No.
tried to understand what the hell she was trying to get at.
Even
No.
then, even if I'd listened to the rest of it, I'm not sure I would have.
Well,
back
not
then.
the same way that we do today.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Right. Because today these issues have been flushed out and talked about, albeit in a obscenely polarizing manner,
Right.
but it's at least digestible, you know. So now we go back and look at these lyrics from fucking 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? From 33 years ago. And we're like, holy shit. She was she was literally predicting the future.
Well, we haven't moved the needle at all. In fact, we may
Correct,
have
yeah.
moved it a little bit back.
Yeah. So it's not even predicting the future. It's literally just like it's an accountability of
Groundhog
our
Day.
utter lack
Yeah.
of progress
Like
Yeah,
a sad,
it really
fucking
is.
or regression
Yeah.
Mhm.
towards progress.
slight regression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Linda. On that
sorry.
fucking bright note, what do we
Anyways,
got
Merry
coming
Christmas,
up next,
everybody?
JD?
Thank you for listening.
Go kill yourself in the bathtub.
Happy New Year. We wish you all a good 2022. If you haven't given up like we have, that is. I'm just
Cheers, guys.
We would talk about the rest of this list if we weren't just gonna fucking kill ourselves.
signing off for good. Wow. We just kind of went down. Okay. Anyways.
That was a
Okay,
rabbit
happy
hole.
song.
I'm
Let's
not
see.
into it. I just spent a bunch of money on Christmas presents. I gotta watch somebody open them.
I do like some other Tracy Trapman songs. I mean, I'm kind of surprised. I'd like Give Me One Reason. Shout out
Oh,
to
yeah,
that song
that's a
because
great
that's
song.
like
Yeah,
probably
dude.
my favorite Tracy Chapman
Yeah,
tune.
For sure.
Did you play that?
I have never performed it. Well, I have, but not with me singing it. Like with another singer.
That seems
good
like
song,
that
though.
would be like a super fun song to sing in a solo acoustic set.
It would be. It's a good tune. I wonder. This has to be the only Tracy Chapman,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
So we're not going to Give Me One Reason, but just I had to shout out to that song. If you
I
don't,
love
if you
that
don't know
song,
it,
yeah.
go listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a gem.
Um,
Gem.
So If Not Now is a beautiful song too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good song. Little ballad.
Yeah, on a little
Laid out.
happier note.
Yeah, it was a love song.
The only issue I have with that song is when you put a ballad in that position on an album, it almost feels obligatory to me.
Oh.
Like you got to have a ballad that's second to last on your album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's almost like
Somebody like you.
Yeah. Exactly.
That would be gross because if you made a list of all those songs that were like that, so many of those songs you would say, "Fuck, I love that song."
Maybe.
You would,
But probably not most of them.
I'll bet most of them.
Of I don't know. I don't think so.
They're probably on the list of greatest songs.
Maybe.
Mhm.
We'll see about that when we get to that list.
At one point, we'll see about that. Should we do some previewing?
Yeah, let's do a little previewing.
The last 5.
Wait, what did Rex say about?
Oh, Rex
yeah.
Todd.
Yes.
Good
I'm
job.
looking out for
Thank
you,
you,
Rex.
Katie.
We need you to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Also,
Katie.
I hear about the hate mail, so just so you know, Rex, we had to get a security system in our house because JB was worried about your hate mail.
Not the testicle thing though.
Yeah, keep sending the testicles, guys, please.
I don't know how many testicles this guy has. We've received so many at this point.
Where's he
all right.
getting those things?
Like honestly, I'm concerned. I think I need to call the police about this. Where are you getting all these testicles, Rex? Tracy Chapman, Rex Todd. This is a pretty great first album to give a listen to. It's soulful, socio-political, and poignant. It was super easy to let it play while I was working and kind of enjoy it. I am surprised on how low on the list it is, but kind of understand why.
We didn't really talk about
Interesting
where.
assessment.
That's
Yeah.
well, that's where I was going to next, was like before we preview what's coming up in the next episode. What do you think about the placement?
I think it's high for me.
Actually, let me ask you this. I mean, you already fucking spoiled it. I knew that you were going to say that it was too high.
Sorry.
Is it for you? If it was more dynamic, would it warrant the placement? And maybe
I don't even want it to
be
change
higher?
at all. I want it to be exactly what it is. I think it's great the way it is.
Mm.
And I think it belongs 360.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Man,
I just think in terms of like, which I think is still very high praise. Greatest albums of all time. You know?
yeah. And that's what's hard. That's what's hard about getting to this point, is that it just becomes a situation where you can't lose sight of the fact that you're literally saying there are only 255 albums ever made
That
by
are better
any
than this.
human being
Yeah.
that are better than this.
Yeah, and then like, why are you placing it there? You know, is it because like it influenced you to start music, or like this one where it's like it
Because
speaks to you because of
There's a
lyrics or whatever, you know?
Okay, so I wonder, and I didn't look at this, and maybe I'll pull it up while I talk here, but I don't know where this was ranked in previous lists. But my question kind of becomes
Well, I mean, you
like,
know,
is this
like
is
you
this
said, like,
here
where is it
because
on
it was
previous-
foreshadowing?
right? But like you said, where is it on other lists? Like all songs, all albums, like with certain context, are going to move on the list based on why people are listening to them again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, say
Might be part of the reason why we already know that Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, is the #1 album on this list. You got to ask if this list wasn't made in 2020. Sorry, my mic is far from my face.
Yeah, it was.
Would that be #1? You know,
right.
And I'm not even arguing that it shouldn't be.
Well, I mean,
Maybe I agree
and
with
just
that.
like, you know, if a newer artist samples an older album, like that trending video on TikTok where that guy was skateboarding and listening to Fleetwood Mac, and they blew up again.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously they're the best, but you know, had that not been
Fascinating history lesson. This album has almost not budged at all.
Oh.
In 2003, Rolling Stone ranked it 261. In 2012, they ranked it 263, and they ranked it 256 in this year.
Huh.
So it's
Moved
almost
up a little
never
bit.
budged. And realistically, even only 15 years after it was released, it was ranked 261.
Weird. I wonder how many are kind of in the same boat. If there's many that are or not. Like in terms of the fact that
In
they
terms of
didn't
movement.
move much. You know.
Yeah. We'll have to hire one of our more spreadsheet-oriented nerd listeners to go out there and chart.
I have someone in mind.
I would love to see like a dot plot of like where some of these albums move from, because
Heather.
because there's some albums like Surrealistic Pillow that we know in the 2003 list were fucking super high, like low 100s. And on this list, they've fallen almost off.
Yeah.
And some have fallen off completely after being ranked as high as like 150 or 200.
Yeah.
So I would be kind of curious because this one is fascinating to me that the dot plot like stays almost in identical position.
Right. But
And
it's super relevant, and it has been since she made it.
And so that's what I'm wondering, right? Like I'm wondering if the reason why it's so consistently at the exact same spot is because there's been no fucking progress.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have women like Tracy Chapman that are singing from the fucking rooftops.
Mm-hmm.
The almighty list makers are just like, well, nothing's fucking changed there. Leave it where it is.
Leave it where it's at.
Yeah.
Hey, Rolling Stone, maybe if you moved it up, some of this shit would get fixed.
Maybe we'd bring more attention to it. This is your fault,
This is
Rolling
Rolling
Stone.
Stone.
It's societal
This list-
problem.
Rolling
this
Stone's
list sucks
fault.
so much
That
that
it
is holding
perpetuated
back.
income inequality. It perpetuated fucking domestic abuse against women. It
Fuck this
Fuck
fucking
you.
list, dude.
fuck you, Rolling
Yeah.
Stone.
I
Look at
think-
what you've done, you
I think we need a
cocksuckers.
roster of Rolling Stone employees to see what they
Jesus.
pay their
You have really
female
held us
Start
back.
doxing
Like,
them.
you have
Start
just
doxing the fuck out of these batch.
Yeah.
straight up prevented societal progress for the last 15 years, Rolling Stone, basically because of this list.
Obviously.
At least you got somebody calling you out on it now, motherfucker.
Finally, we're getting to the bottom of this conspiracy.
Glad we figured that out. Solve world problems.
Lizard people.
I would actually be okay with this being closer to 200.
Mhm.
Wow.
I think it would.
I think now that I've listened to it,
It's
Couple
topically
times
beautiful
Because of the
songwriting.
topical,
I've
It's
because
top-
of the topicality.
It's topically beautiful songwriting.
I appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's tough to say that that the topicality alone is what makes it worthwhile, but
Lyrically, I think it's
If you
worth
really-
it.
Musically, it's a good album. You know, I'm gonna stand by what I said, but musically, it's good. I mean, the simplicity is underrated here. You know,
Mhm.
the songs are good.
yeah.
So Mike wants to put it at 200. I
Closer
want to
to.
put it
Yeah.
about 360. What do you guys think?
I'd say about 250.
Yeah.
So close to where it
So
is.
they're Rolling Stone.
Well,
I'm moving it up a little.
You guys are purists.
actually,
loyalists.
I think I'd move it up a little.
Yeah, I think if it was like, top 100 female artists of all time, I probably would move it closer to 50.
Wait a minute, time out.
Whoa.
She's definitely a top 100 female artist of all
Yeah.
time. Tracy Chapman's probably a top 50 female artist of all
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
One thing that I was like, it's worth mentioning with this. This album received 7 nominations at the Grammys.
Wow.
1 for Album of the Year, Record of the Year for Fast Car, Song of the Year for Fast Car, Pop Female Vocal Performance, ranked top 10, ranked on these lists. And I'm trying to remember because I read this somewhere else. How many lists? So 6 times platinum, right? So this fucking record sold 6 million fucking copies, and it was number 1 on Billboard, which you don't necessarily see that. This fucking record was a monster.
Yeah.
Like this was a big record
It's a big one.
just in terms of like commercial sales. And I know that commercial sales don't necessarily, they don't make a record, but they don't also, I don't think they make a record, but I think that they help a record that if you're looking at it on balance and saying, yeah, this is a really good recording and it had like really, really widespread commercial success, to me, like that's a tailwind. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think that matters.
Yeah.
Commercial viability to some extent.
I concur.
So, all right. You want to preview the next episode?
Yep, let's do it.
Should we preview our guest from the next
Yeah,
episode too?
our guest for next episode, we're gonna returning guest four times.
Four
Is it really
time.
fourth time?
He's the 4-time world champion. Coming back
WWE
again.
SmackDown.
He's going to expect
I'm
more
gonna
time.
fuck you up.
Badass motherfucker belt. We have Justin Handel coming back and for the 4th time. So
He's the king of New York.
he is
Justin Handel, the king of New York, coming back.
indeed.
4-time world champion.
That's right.
So exciting.
250. You go for it.
All right. Number 255, we're going to be talking about the freewheeling Bob Dylan from 1963.
254 is Herbie Hancock head hunters. I almost said head cunners. And I had to point that out after the fact.
Man, I love Headhunters. That's a banger.
It is.
Number 253, another entry from Pink Floyd. This time we're going to be talking about Piper at the Gates at Dawn. Holla.
Bold choice putting that higher than Wish You Were Here.
I mean, we'll talk about
Don't
this
even
more.
start it.
I know it's not even a
Don't
bold
even
choice. It's a
start.
fucking terrible choice. But I like seeing Piper
That's
on
good
there,
shit,
though.
though, dude. The
I
Piper is
know.
good shit.
I know.
Devo, Q, are we not men? A, we are Devo.
We are
like
Devo.
Question and answer.
I can't get no
Satisfaction.
And then to round out the top half of this list, we're going to be talking about the one, the only, the Honky Cat, Elton John's 1972 release, Honky Chateau.
Damn right we are.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main reasons why I wanted to have Justin on, but also the rest of them. But like, I know he's a particular fan of that. So, yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Linda and Katie, thank you guys so much
Thank you,
for joining
ladies.
us tonight. You know, it's
Thank
been a
you.
long time coming for both of you. I'm sure you guys will come back at some point.
Ladies
hope so,
in
at
the
least.
house for Ladies Week.
Yeah,
Yay.
Yes.
love it.
Listen,
I'm always this lady in this house.
She's always in the house.
probably see me in the back.
that's true.
I see
Chasing
the chair
dogs,
rocking.
Chasing
Cats.
dogs, keeping them cats quiet.
Making too much noise in the kitchen.
Listen,
in the kitchen.
we got to do this again. So take a
Yeah.
peek ahead.
Look ahead.
Don't fucking spoil anything, but take a peek ahead. And the next time you want to come on, let us know. And let's do this again.
We'll do it. We'll make it
I'll
happen.
take better notes
Mhm.
next time.
I'll try not to.
I mean, you
choke
don't
on
have
my
to.
whiskey.
Why? Do you feel like you were shortchanged?
Do
Do you feel like you didn't get to talk enough?
No, she took.
No. Shut up, baby.
She talked plenty.
Do not talk for her.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is
Hey,
on
We're
Ladies
gonna
Week
have a
of all
domestic
weeks.
situation
I know.
later. It's fine.
He's gonna beat the shit out of me later, as per usual. So, all right.
This was fun.
Yeah, it was.
This
fun.
was
Thank you
fun.
guys. Really, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for inviting us. We
Thank
love
you
it.
all for listening. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
We won't see you until after Christmas.
That's okay. So yes, quick editorial programming note for people like Rex Todd that are very concerned about our recording schedule.
He's pissed.
There's holidays, there's Christmas.
There's
I don't
fish.
know what there's fish. There's holidays, there's Christmas, there's fish.
We're not even going, but
I know. Well, I mean, I'm
you
gonna
might-
go.
You might go to.
I'm gonna go to one
Yeah.
night. I'll go to the 29th. But yeah, we gotta do holidays, and so
We might not even be here till after New Year's. We might be one before. We'll see.
that's the thing. We might be able to get the first half done before the end of the year. But hey, listen, we'll do our best.
We will.
We'll
Yep.
do our best, and eventually we'll get back to you, and we'll get back to you with a bunch of good stuff. And then we're only gonna have 250 more albums.
We're only
I say that
halfway.
like
Is
it's
there a tear in your
only.
eye?
We're almost halfway. Almost halfway. That's
All Mike
exciting.
wants for Christmas is to finish this fucking list.
No, Mike's having fun. Mike's having fun.
I know I am having a lot of fun, and we're getting into these weeks where it's like it's almost exciting when I don't know one of the records.
Yes, it is, because it's like, wow, this is that high, and I don't even know it.
That's
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of joy in that.
Yeah.
So,
Again, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Play that.
Thank you all for
sweet
listening.
ass fucking holiday
Uh,
tunes.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
This list sucks. This list sucks. This list really sucks. Come next year, you need not fear. This list will still be here. Hey, this list sucks. This list sucks. This list really sucks. Come next year, one thing's clear is this list still will suck.
Charcuterie.
And we're done.